Why? Is it because you can't contend with the point that I just made? Is that why you pretend it's a non-answer?
I don't want to do this heap grain of sand argument. I don't know
what
exactly.
You keep saying heap grain of sand. You're doing the Nirvana.
Because you're asking me for it. Because you're asking.
We're not asking you for an exact demarcator. We're just asking for in general.
Right and mean wrong. These don't make any sense.
So when this is not happening in a vacuum.
Stop. I want to talk. I want to talk. This isn't hypothetical.
Today, we are going to be talking about edgy jokes, dehumanization, and whether or not influencers, public figures, etc., on our side, the anti-Trump side, have a responsibility to behave well in public settings. As most of you are aware, after the Texas floods, Destiny put out a tweet saying the following: "I heard God killed those kids because they were using NordVPN promo code Destiny to get around the Texas porn ban." This is not the first time Destiny is engaged in such dark humor. Asmongold recently made a comment that he thinks such statements and jokes are counterproductive and work against his goals. So we're going to talk about it today. Is this humor a good way to expose Republican hypocrisy and raise awareness of issues? Or is it undermining the work of opposing Trump? How dark woke, quote unquote, should we go? Does when they go low, we go lower help us or hurt us? And we've got quite the cast to talk about it, including the man himself. We're just going to go around, quick opening thoughts, and then we'll get into the meat of it. We're going to start with Counterpoints. Go ahead.
Yeah, so in my opinion, it's not about dark, edgy jokes in particular. Obviously, we all like a good fucked up joke every now and then. That's not the problem. The problem is what is gained and what is lost. Also, the hybridization of alt media and mainstream media. That's the real question here. Just as an example, I did get it confirmed that roughly billions of dollars were spent on advertising in the 2024 election, and roughly $100 million got spent on newspaper ads by the Democratic Party in 2024. Democrats are scared of alternative media. The reason why they're scared of alternative media is because we have people like Vosh jerking off to kitty horse porn. We have people like Hassan, hanging out with terrorists. And we got Destiny talking about dead kids in Texas and how they deserve to die because they were jerking off to, porn with using a VPN. So this is the kind of shit that is going to push normies away. It's going to push the mainstream away. It's going to push those dollars away. And so as a result, it's not whether or not you can make fucked up jokes. I don't give a shit about that. What I give a shit about is we got real work to do.
Okay. Destiny. Answer for your crimes.
I don't really think there's much of a downside unless you let there be a downside. I think that conservatives are allowed to have humor. I thought comedy was legal again. And I think that the big issue with Democrats being scared of alternative media is that they're scared of like any environment that they don't have like optimal control over. And I think they dramatically overestimate how much the public gives a fuck about edgy jokes. I think it has less to do with edgy jokes and more to do with who has the power in the situation. And so if you have the power, it's unironically like what conservatives used to say, find out who you can't make fun of, and then you'll find out who controls you. And for a lot of things, conservatives can just make the most insane jokes ever and be fine. And Democrats have to be like tiptoeing around every single topic. I think it's funny to make jokes, and we should keep making jokes. Fuck them.
Okay, we're going to talk about it, I'm sure. NotSoErudite. Kyla, please.
Yeah, so I wanted to have this conversation because I care about real political outcomes. I think if we claim to be evidence-based, left-leaning commentators who want to fight misinfo and push for positive change, we need to be honest about what works. So it's fine for advocacy to reflect our personalities, but if we just do something because it feels good, it's probably important that we don't confuse that with what's effective. And what I would argue for is we don't have to be maximally effective at all times, right? I would never advocate for that necessarily. But the evidence typically shows, whether it's psychological theory or basic behavioral science, that shame and being super nasty typically is a bad motivator for change, particularly for people who view you as the outgroup. And so in my mind, if the goal is to move people and actually shifts hearts and minds, we need to make sure that we're being mindful of like how we're coming across, right? If we want to claim moral superiority, well, then we can't be doing things that make us look morally more questionable. If we think that scorching or going scorched earth and dunking leads to progress, we should probably stop kidding ourselves. It probably doesn't. And I think one of the things that I think is Stephen's strength specifically is his ability to kind of be that token liberal in conservative spaces. I think he's been effective at being like that one liberal where they go, this guy's pretty reasonable, which essentially introduces a fundamental binary paradigm shift for a lot of people listening. And I think that that's really important to do. And my suspicion is that this type of joke, while I don't really care about edgy jokes in and of themselves, my suspicion is that essentially this joke was more offensive than it was funny, and you lost a whole bunch of social capital with people that I think you could be more effective if you maintain that social capital with. I have a feeling that my criticisms of Soy Pill and Steven will be somewhat different. So right now I'm angling them more at Steven, but I'm sure as we talk, there'll be stuff that is more directed at Soy Pill. So yeah.
Oh, we'll get to Soy Pill in a second. Soy Pill, speaking of the devil, go ahead.
Yeah, so I thought Destiny's joke was pretty funny, but somehow the right wing was able to capitalize this and shift the conversation from horrible policy by Ted Cruz and the right wing got a bunch of people killed to, oh, some guy was mean. So we're letting the right wing drive this outrage machine. They don't fucking care. Marjorie Taylor Greene can call us all pedophiles. She doesn't get repercussions. The only reason we're allowed to do it now is because they're blocking the Epstein file release. But vibes do matter. And look at the vibe conversation. Like, Kamala didn't lose because she was too mean. She lost because she didn't go on these podcasts where she could be more authentic. Joe Rogan, Theo Von, Nelk Boys, and they tell Holocaust jokes, rape jokes, like all sorts of wild shit. Like, it's this idea that, oh, well, you're not authentic enough, but also you have to be prim and proper and perfect because if you don't, like, you're not cool. I'm not arguing for there to be no policing. We can call it illegal things like calls to violence, sex crimes, but why waste our time complaining about optics to some arbitrary amount of voters who care about optics over policy? I'm willing to change my mind. I don't know, Kyla, you might have this. If you can show me some data that says, oh, voters left the Democrats because of crass humor and meanness, but I've heard far more people say they leave the left because they're policing too much and telling white men to sit down and be quiet. So I say, let the white boys have their summer. Stop wasting energy clutching your pearls at fucking nothing. Save it for educating people on policy that actually matters. We tried to go high. When they go low, we lost 2 elections doing it. They're going to find outrage regardless. It's a waste of time.
Okay, and with that, let's open the floor. Go ahead, gang.
Yeah, so
Sure.
actually let's go ahead and you tell me, number one, which part is funny. I'll tell you which part is funny to me, and then also tell me where we're talking about Ted Cruz's policy, because that's part of your rebuttal, is that there's this 3,000 IQ appeal to hypocrisy understanding baked into the tweet. So let's see if we can find that through some literary analysis. So I heard God killed those kids, okay, because they were using NordVPN. I'm not done yet. Oh, you think that's funny?
No, do you want me to tell you why I think the joke is funny?
In a second. So they were using NordVPN promo code Destiny. Hold on, real quick. I just want to explain the promo code. As much as I hated this fucking joke and it pissed me off, promo code VPN was fucking hysterical. Like, objectively,
that's the part I thought was funny.
That's the funniest part of the fucking joke, right?
Okay.
All right. Now, to get around the Texas porn ban, gross. The girls who got killed were 8 years old to 13 years old. Okay. Now, where is the appeal to hypocrisy amongst conservatives, and where's the explanation of like Republicans canceling funding for ARP for doing the siren in this area?
Well, so you're attacking 2 different arguments in the same breath. Well, one of them you're saying that somehow edgy jokes must also be calling out hypocrisy. I don't think that's necessary.
That's the position that DGG is doing 100%.
Well, I'm not DGG. If you want to talk to DGG, talk to them. I'm talking no, I'm saying that edgy jokes are fine, and we should also be calling out hypocrisy from the Republicans. You don't need to do these things in the same breath. But second of all, if anything, if I'm not mistaken, did Destiny not go on Piers Morgan and then defend attack the hypocrisy to like a whole crowd of millions of people? Like, that is a conversation starter as much as you might not like it.
So Stephen, that's an important question. Did you think that you were going to become is this an avant-garde marketing strategy? Did you think you were going to get an invite from Piers Morgan? You're like, I'm going to tweet out about dead kids jerking off to porn, and this is 100% going to result in people inviting me onto their shows?
Possibly. I would just like to clarify one part of the joke, though. You said that it was gross that they were underage and it was a porn joke. Well, that was why God was punishing them. If they were adults that were using NordVPN to watch porn, then God wouldn't punish them. So it wouldn't make any sense, would it?
No, God would still punish them.
Number one. Number two, wait, real quick, to answer the question, because did I know I could find it? I don't know, maybe not. I generally, at this point, when it comes to edgy humor conservatives, I don't necessarily make these jokes with like some huge grand master plan in mind. I just think liberals need to be way less fucking soy about making fun of conservatives for retarded shit. They've like moved the window of acceptable behavior so unbelievably far in one direction that at this point, I refuse to be policed by actual subhuman degenerate filth about what we can or can't joke about when they make the most unhinged degenerate jokes ever. And I have seen absolutely zero evidence whatsoever that this go low, go high, whatever bullshit has ever worked ever for liberals. It seems like all of the most popular moments have usually been when they're kind of roasting the other side a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. And it feels like liberals are the ones that have the most negative reactions there.
Is that why Beto O'Rourke won in Texas? Was because he was being so hardcore when he said that I'm going to take away your AR-15s? Was he giga chatting in that moment? Was that a popular take that he had?
I don't know, but the most popular take I remember Beto O'Rourke having about weapons was when he said something about like "fuck your AR-15s." There's a big deal.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So obviously, you can be giga chat about good things, and you can be giga chat about bad things, and you can get punished for being giga chat about bad things, and rewarded for being giga chat about good things, right? This stands to reason.
I guess. I don't know. That wasn't really a joke he was making, though. He was just saying a swear word. No.
Yeah, but you made correct me if I'm wrong, but you made the argument that the time that Democrats have most succeeded is when they haven't been soy, when they haven't been milquetoast, and they've stand on business. Well, I feel like
Beto O'Rourke, I don't know if they've ever gotten credit. I don't think they've ever gotten credit ever for being like kind and nice to conservative stuff. I just don't know.
I don't think we're asking you to be kind or nice. I think you could have been incredible.
No, not about me. I'm just saying that in general in general on the Democrat side, this like call to being kind and compassionate and empathetic and understanding. I just don't know if like Democrats have ever gotten credit ever on that.
I wanted to give.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody calls you pussies.
Yeah,
yes.
I want to give Kyla a chance to get in. She was trying to get in earlier. Go ahead. Please.
Yeah, sure. I just want to make sure to reframe this because even Soy Pill's opening made it seem like this is about edgy jokes, which is understandable because I think for Wick it's about edgy jokes. I'm not totally sure. I just want to be very clear. I don't give a fuck about edgy jokes. I don't give a single rip. You make as many edgy jokes as you want to. I don't give a fuck about any of this shit. What I care about here fundamentally is our predisposition in how we are willing to talk to the opposing side. And I think that that is something that is decaying, not just amongst leftists, which it never existed, but I'm seeing it decay within liberals. And I think that that is harmful to our cause, right? So in the case of like Steven's edgy joke, okay, well, yeah, unfortunately, it was way more offensive than it was funny. It was a little fancy, it was a lot offensive, and it was made more offensive by the timing. So it flopped to even the point that the left didn't like it, right? But again, I don't really care. I'm not interested in just policing people's edgy joke. What I'm interested in is thinking about how we talk to and engage with one another. For example, Soy Pill, the way that you talk to Tally on that panel, I think is part of the problem. I don't think that this is how you are ontologically all the time, but I think this idea where we talk to people of opposite ideas, we go as aggressive as possible, and we try to tear down not just like who they are, but their humanity. I mean, some of the statements that I quoted from you saying, I think were like pretty shitty, right? It's not just about you're being a little bit mean. It's this entire orientation which says if we want democracy to work, we have to be able to talk to the other side. And while I'll be the first to say that I think the right is full of crazy people and assholes, they're crazy people and assholes that we have to be able to talk to and convince to our side. And I'm not seeing that like the smug nastiness or scorched earth policy that I would criticize Stephen of with, say, like maybe a Tectone or an Asmongold is going to be effective for polling particularly moderates and undecided towards our position.
Yeah, wait, real quick, just as a real quick thing on that. Isn't that exactly what Trump did with the entire tech bro movement, though? Like, didn't he pull in a bunch of people, like record high Hispanic voters, record high tech bro people, Elon Musk, like with the most divisive and vitriolic and toxic rhetoric ever? Didn't he pull in a ton of
Yeah, sure, but people are stupid.
But are we
Hold on. I want to back up a little bit.
Let Kyla finish, please. Let Kyla finish.
The issue is you would have to submit to me evidence that it was him being a fucking asshole versus Kamala, A, getting switched last minute so they didn't even know who they were voting for, and B, on top of that, her entire mantra was essentially, let's keep things the same when people desperately wanted change. So maybe it was
Kyla, the point isn't that it's attracting voters necessarily. It's the point is that it's clearly not alienating all these moderates, that they're still voting for him in these record high numbers. Like this isn't some poison that's going to destroy the Democratic Party and their chances of winning.
Yeah, but Tally is the person that's winnable. I watched the Tally bots live and learn bully session.
Tally is stupid, and I don't care.
That doesn't matter.
If
By the way,
nice to her is going to win her over. We should be educating her on policy. That's a completely different conversation.
Soy Pill, regardless of whether or not you question Tally's individual intelligence, democracy is about appealing to stupid people.
Right. And
I don't know if you knew that. So hold on.
No, because you don't know. My position.
Hey, let Counterpoints finish his point, then you can respond.
Let him strawman me for 5 minutes, and then I can give my real position.
No. I'll take about 1 minute. And on top of that, I'll be very precise with my language, which doesn't have anything about your character involved in it, okay? What's funny is Tally is in a red state, but she's a blue person. She did not think that her vote really mattered, and what she wanted was to do a protest vote, effectively saying the Democrats are not catering to me as a part of the base, and I am your natural supporter. And your guys' reaction to that so far hasn't been, damn, we lost kind of like a progressive, liberal, Jewish girl. What are we doing that's so off-putting? Your entire perspective has been struggle sessioning her and calling her a fucking idiot, which, by the way, other moderates are going to see, and they're going to be like, well, fuck you too.
I called her a retard, for to be clear. And second of all, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be advocating for educating people on what policy affects them and how they should be voting differently. But clearly, if this person is so adverse to learning about the consequences of policy that whoever was mean to her last, or whatever kind of perception she has of which party is nicer or less adverse, like that's what she votes on, why would I waste time on this person who's hold on, let me finish. I let you finish your stupid thing. No, so when she is on a platform and the topic is, hey, Tali, what do Democrats need to do? That's when I'm going to come at you. For like, my channel is about reaching out to Trump supporters, which is a very different thing. I understand the point of compassion, the point of letting them speak and understanding why they voted so we can change them. But when these pundits are out here saying the dumbest shit ever, displaying their lack of intelligence, I'm going to come up and I'm going to be mean to them, because that's my authentic feeling, is that they're fucking retarded. They need to shut the fuck up. That's a very different conversation than trying to convince a swath of people to come over. And these things can be done in parallel.
Okay, so I want to acknowledge what Wick said, which is effectively that she was in an overwhelming blue state, so she didn't think that her vote was going to matter. So it was the opposite of what I said, but the point still stands. All right, so here's my fucking frustration with this, okay? So I get exactly what you said, and on top of that, plurality of tactics, all right? So if Steven wants to be fucking edgy, you want to have debates, and then you want to be nice to some people but mean to some people, I totally understand a plurality of tactics, okay? But what I'm saying is there's something so fundamentally obvious that should be acknowledged by every single fucking Democrat and isn't, which is effectively on October 7th, 2023, you had tons of progressives, not just leftists, saying prison, so what was Hamas supposed to do? While there's people getting raped and murdered on Twitter, and then a bunch of Jews go, oh shit, my progressive coalition, my multi-ethnic, multi-religious coalition actually views me as subhuman and laughs when fucking my people get murdered. What the fuck?
Yeah,
and they got so turned off, they moved away from the Democrats.
The issue here isn't about edgy jokes. The issue is that legitimately a lot of people on the left supported Hamas terrorist attacking Israel. I think that was the issue.
Well, no shit. That's why I brought it up in my intro.
Yeah, well, but my intro said no calls to violence, dude.
This isn't an issue of like edgy humor. This is an issue of like really incompatible policy positions, I think. I think the issue when it comes to this like weird like joke or rhetoric policing is you've got like, I don't know enough about Talia, but was that her name? Talia? Tali,
yeah.
Tali. Okay, so I'm not saying she's an extremist or whatever, just because I just don't know her positions. But it feels like when talking about her, it's the equivalent of like Soy Pilled, or the Soy Pill over here is like somebody who speeds occasionally in his car, and Tali is like kind of sort of wanting to support the mob. And then, you know, we've got the Soy Pill speeding in his car, and we're like, well, she's just not going to side with you if you're a criminal. And it's like, okay, I just don't think speeding is that big of a deal. It's not really about the speeding. It's the fact that how are you aligned with the mob and complaining about one side speeding? That just doesn't make any sense to me. That's soy as fuck, not in the Soy Pill way, but like in an actual.
Yeah, hold on. We have to stop framing this as an edgy joke issue. Maybe that's Connor's issue. I don't know. And this isn't even a moral issue to me, to be super frank. What I'm talking about is effectiveness. I do not think that super divisiveness is what is effective. I don't think it's what's been effective for Trump at all in any way, because he lost in 2016 despite getting smeared aggressively by the Democrats. He still won, had a weak presidency, and then Joe Biden won because everyone was sick of how divisive he was. And then he won again, but again, in large part because
I think Biden won because of COVID. I think COVID fucked the whole world up and everybody was mad, but it's like Trump literally tried to steal the presidency and like didn't lose as bad as anywhere as he should have, and then he won again. And Trump is like probably the most divisive president or person period that I've seen in, I don't know, my lifetime. So it just seems like the divisiveness is not a thing that scares people away from your movement. I just don't know where that idea comes from, because especially if you look at the big group of people that vote for him, white people, like what's the reason they cite the most for wanting to be with Trump? It's like wokeness, which seems to play right into divisive and edgy jokes.
Well, actually, part of the issue is wokeness is something that you guys don't really do. Maybe Soy is leaning into it. I'm not really sure. Wokeness is generally this like PR policy of canceling and like purifying people out of our group to say that they're not good enough. That's calling everyone a racist and all these sorts of things. It's a thing that got you banned off of Twitch, right? And it's a thing that if Soy Pill went on TikTok for 1 second, it would get banned him off of because he uses edgy jokes too, right? So wokeness is incredibly divisive and it is driving people away because people fucking hate it. And so when I'm talking about being mean, I'm not saying don't be mean. That's never been my position. I'm clearly mean to people all the time. What I'm saying is we have to be mean effectively. And I don't think scorched earth is effective policy. In the case of your joke, it was funny. And I bet you if you gave it 2 weeks to breathe, it might have actually landed super well. Unfortunately, it didn't because the offensive level was higher than the funniness, probably because of the immediacy of the event happening. Unfortunately, right? I'm not saying don't make those jokes.
That analysis can't ever be applied to anything for conservatives, though. Why do we have two forms of analysis?
I don't give a fuck about conservatives winning. I don't care about them winning.
You should care about them because you're saying you care about political effectiveness. They just won both halves of Congress. They controlled the Supreme Court and they won the presidency even with a popular vote. So clearly what they're doing is effective. So I don't know how we can say, well, I don't care about the conservatives do. I just want to be effective.
But is what's effective calling people rats? Is that what's effective?
I think that's what what people like about him. If you ask people what do they like about Trump, they don't say the policy. They don't know any of Trump's policies. They don't say.
Hold on.
I think he tells it like it is. Meaning he makes fun of people.
But I'm calling bullshit right now, okay? So number one, I've had DGG in my fucking comments for the past fucking week because I've effectively had my milquetoast criticism of the fucking take or whatever. And what they've all said is like, well, look at how mean Tectone was. And look how mean and stupid Asmongold is. And look how mean and stupid Donut Operator was in reference to the Palisades fire. And so I go and check the fucking tweets and they go, fuck you, Biden. So where's the direct analog to this specific behavior where you're making fun of fucking dead people?
Where, first of all, it wasn't just fuck you, Biden. One was a fuck you to a request for FEMA funds, I think. Another one was blaming Biden and calling him old and decrepit for not, for he didn't go to either Texas or California or something. Another one was like making fun of LGBT people and DEI. Is it the exact equivalent? No, but it's like insanely tasteless. What is the...
Is that equivalent to mocking the dead? I don't give a fuck about mocking the dead. I'll make fun of the dead right now. I'm talking about other people who care about that shit.
Equivalent to mocking the dead, an equivalent to mocking the dead would be all of the Democrats, or not the Democrats. It would be Tim Pool and others who are making fun of the one dude on the street in New York that got stabbed to death in front of his girlfriend, who are like, this is exactly the kind of thing that these guys vote for. Or the go-to example is
when they're all burning.
Hold on, this isn't about being equivocal. This isn't about being equivocal. This isn't about being equivocal.
This is bullshit.
No,
I'm not going to let it slide.
We have to have a higher standard. We already hold ourselves to a higher standard than Republicans. They have no morals. Have you not read Lauren Southern's book? You have people unironically taking money to peddle false information. It's only the right that has done bad things. But the issue is
moral standards or is it political effectiveness? Which one is it then? Those are two different things.
Hold on.
Well,
and
you're
before we move on,
that we should do whatever the Republicans do because they're already doing bad stuff. And I am saying, I don't know if these are the standards that we want to hold ourselves to. For example, if it is, why don't you just spread a bunch of misinfo and start paying for bot farms? That would be way more effective.
The question is whether we want political effectiveness or moral standards. I think there's a different morality about making fun of people versus like lying about stuff. I would argue that these are two different things. But the question is just, are we talking about political effectiveness or are we talking about like having some go high when they go low road moral standard thing?
I want to make one point and I want to challenge the audience, okay? Because what I'm hearing is turnabout is fair play. And so what I'm looking about is turnabout. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So if you want to come up with other egregious behaviors that the right wing is engaged in, I'm going to agree with you. I endlessly bitch about the $9 billion rescission package that's projected to kill 14 million people. Trust me, I care way more about that than I care about Steven's fucked up joke, okay? However, that being said, if you're going to say, I'm not done yet, Erudite,
I'm sorry, you're yapping.
I'm not done yet, Erudite, thank you. I'm not done yet, Kyla, thank you.
Okay, let Counterpoints finish. Hold on, let Counterpoints finish.
Thank you.
Land your plane, sir.
All right, thank you. Yeah. Anyways, so I challenge you, send it to my DMs, send it to my email, show me where these alt media pundits have been shitting on the dead people in the Palisades fires. Send it to me, please.
Kyla, now it's your turn. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. I shouldn't go aggro on Connor. He's my debate partner. So the issue for me is that moral standards can be part of a political effectiveness, particularly if they're your espoused moral standards, right? The left typically has stood on some level of moral standards. We think that we're better. We're not trying to steal elections. We're not trying to spread misinformation. We're not trying to take away people's rights. That's the standards that we stand upon, which is why it would be really ineffective advocacy if we say all these things and then there's evidence that we're doing the opposite. This is why MAGA is in an absolute blowout right now, because one of the standards that they cared about was like truth and justice, particularly around the Epstein files, and Trump is completely caving to that. And it is causing a massive Republican fallout. There is massive schism going on as a result of them not standing up to some of their standards. Now, I agree that the Republican standards of being a pundit is not the standards that I want the left to have, but that's because I think the left is right. I think reality leans left, and there are certain standards that I don't want to fall to. And one of the standards, for example, here is one that I actually don't think Republicans fail very hard, which is how we talk to people who we disagree with. Typically, when I go into Republican spaces, they're going to say a bunch of stupid information and they're going to spread misinfo, and at worst, they'll be bad faith. However, if I go into leftist spaces, as you personally know, Stephen, as Soy Pill, I literally just go on TikTok once and debate people, and I'm sure you'll experience it. The leftists are fucking deranged. They're super nasty. They try to destroy your career, and they morally condemn you along lines and values that you hold, like not being a racist. And so we keep losing in these ways because in part, we allowed the leftists to set the tone of what the left looks like, which we should have never agreed to at all. But in converse, no, you don't get to interrupt me. No, 1 second. But in converse, yeah, it's a two-parted argument. Sorry, Soy Pill, if that's hard for you to keep up on. Okay.
We can do one at a time.
The second part is how we engage with those who are opposite. Some of them I will just say this, at the TPUSA event, every single conservative that came up was super excited to see Destiny. They're like, he's so good. He's so smart. But man, I wish he wouldn't make fun of dead kids. And all through the canvassing events, do you know how many people came up to me who were conservatives who were polled because of your red pill arc, where to this day, Myron Gaines respects you because even though you disagreed with him the entire time, and even though you were harsh on it, you were not nasty and you didn't go scorched earth, or you didn't do this like smug condescending shit that like leftists and I think Soy Pill think is based. That was effective. It just was effective. And I think that there is mounds of evidence to support that.
Okay, I'm still here. I'm just turning off my camera.
Let's go Soy Pill and Soy Pill. And then
two things. One, on one side of your mouth, you're saying, hey, the left is losing because we're policing and we're woke and we're calling people racist and we have these standards and it's driving people away, which is what is happening when people are complaining about Destiny's joke. Oh, you can't do that. That's crossing a line. And this is exactly what I'm talking about in the beginning when I said there's an authenticity problem where people look at like a Dean Withers and a Harry Sisson, and you just saw him maybe on the Adam Friedland show. He wouldn't say retarded because he's like, I can't do that. That's my democratic, handlers won't let me say the nasty words. And that's why no one fucking likes them, because they're lame and manufactured. Meanwhile, you've got all these people that Trump, went on their podcast and he appeared authentic to. And that's the reason why people say they like Trump, is the being authentic and saying what you feel. And you can say, oh, I don't want to go down to that standard. But in the same breath, you're saying, well, we shouldn't steal elections. We shouldn't spread misinfo. Obviously. But that is not what is happening right now. What's happening is people are policing jokes because, oh, they're too edgy and you're too mean. And when you say there's a way, hold on. No, hold on. I'm sorry. I thought we weren't interrupting, Kyla.
You have to actually engage with my arguments. Well, I don't know how many times I have to tell you it's not about edgy jokes.
I don't know how many times you have to interrupt me before I can finish my sentence.
If you keep strawmanning me, I'm going to interrupt you to correct your perception of my argument, because you have to talk to me.
I know you think I'm criticizing you.
And stop saying jokes, because that's not what I'm saying.
Why are we here, Kyla? Was it not because of an edgy joke?
I literally said at the very beginning that that might be Wick's issue, and that is, but that isn't my issue. And then I gave an entire argument.
You want to engage
with me?
Okay, it's counter. Okay, so you I guess shouldn't be here for the topic of the joke thing. You should be here for the how do we talk to people. And obviously,
in fact, I think I texted Wick and I said explicitly.
It's all connected. Let me explain this. It's all connected. These jokes is how we treat people. They feel that you're laughing, but it's true, right? If someone is making a joke, right, about something that someone deeply cares about, and they get deeply offended, this will drive them to act against our interests, right? So why do this? What upside, what gain is there? So her take, Erudite's take on political effectiveness is tied into the topic as a whole. That's why she's here. any way it
Right.
continues.
And I'm saying that edgy jokes are
by
part
the
of
way,
an authenticity.
fucking weak
that
shit to have to appeal to the name of the debate so
I'm
that
not
you can get a
calling
fucking
you. I'm not saying you're losing.
You said,
I'm
why
not
are
trying to
you
dunk on you,
here?
Kyla.
Which is so
no,
fucking
oh my
annoying.
God. Kyla, please. We're friends. I'm
Even
not actually trying
jokes
to
aren't
dunk
my
on you for that.
problem.
I'm just like,
It's
obviously we're
dehumanizing
talking
and
about
being
something else.
nasty. Then talk to me.
Okay, so I'm talking to you. So yes, the dehumanizing, nasty, edgy jokes are part of an authenticity that you can see in places that appeal to young voters that are swinging away from the uptight policing Democrats that you are calling a problem, and I agree is a problem. The over-policing, the wokeness, the left stuff. And just to be clear, I don't think that just dunking and saying, oh, you're racist, you're stupid, is like, oh, it's based, we should always do that. The reason I did that to Tali is not because I think that's how you should talk to all Trump supporters. It's when they speak on an authority where they're saying, well, we know what we should do. This is very different from understanding how you can win people over. And this idea that like, well, I have to be infinitely curious about why Tali, this fucking moron, decided to vote for Trump despite being gay, being Jewish, and having all of these things on her. But she doesn't have to be at all curious about why I might call her out about that, why she should vote for a Democrat is insane. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. And we should be spending it educating people like that on policy and how it's going to affect them, because that's the only way you're actually going to have political effectiveness, not policing jokes. I think it's a waste of time.
Okay.
Sure. So the first thing that you pointed to, was a dialectic, right? You said on one side of your mouth, you're saying that we should stop like canceling people out. And on the other side, you're now essentially policing me for how mean I'm being. I'm talking about a dialectic here. I'm talking about the intolerance of tolerance, right? In the case of purity woke scolding, I think it's bad because I think it derails from the actual ideas. I think it typically targets people that it shouldn't be targeting because it's endlessly looking for new targets. And I think it kicks out people that we align with fundamentally. I am not sitting here and saying you're not left or you're ontologically evil for these things. I'm saying you're ineffective and it's betraying our own moral standards that I think we have erected and I think we should stand to, which is that we want to engage with each other and we want to be able to talk to the opposing side. I think
these
that
things
that's
aren't
our
mutually
value.
exclusive. That's what I'm saying. And also, can you please, like, because I don't have data on this, and this isn't me like calling you out, could you show me where there's this like swath of voters that are turned off by this and didn't vote because of it, versus, which I think there's probably more data for, who is saying, well, I'm looking for an authentic Democratic Party, which I think edgy jokes like this, as much as you might say, hey, they're ineffective, I think they're much more effective.
Never said edgy
especially to a
jokes are
younger.
ineffective.
Let's
Never
give it
said
to
edgy jokes
let's,
are ineffective.
let's give
Okay,
it to
well, whatever
Counterpoints.
I'm
way
sorry.
you want to
If you want to talk, no. Well, if you want to talk to me, just ask me my opinion, right? What I would say is,
when I repeat this, so
dropping
I don't say it wrong.
Well, it's not just don't say it wrong. It's understand my position. That's what I'm asking you to do.
You say political effectiveness. This joke itself was offensive. What about it was not politically effective? And then I will use that language to every time I reference it. I'm not trying to strawman you. I'm literally just trying to repeat what you said. Sorry.
I'll tell you, talking about prepubescent kids jerking off, that's probably the least politically effective aspect of the joke.
Well, wouldn't it be schlicking in this case because they're mostly girls?
So to be clear, there's not going to be political data that you're asking for. In large part, I think Blue Rose openly, actually David Shore talked to me about this and I asked him why he didn't include like wokeness as a reason why people voted. And he was like, well, our list of 40 things was just kind of arbitrary fundamentally. And he agreed probably it actually should have been included. It would have been interested to know. So I don't have this data to give you, or people like, well, man, Destiny was really mean this one day to me, so that's why I voted for Trump, right? Mm-hmm. What I do have is psychological theory, right, about how people work. And what we're talking about here when we're talking about changing minds is we're talking about changing fundamentals or deep things to people's worldviews. And these are really, really hard things to change, as anyone in psychology can tell you. And what I'm saying is that while edgy jokes can be useful because it code switches to young people that you're chill, that you don't give a fuck about the PC shit, and you can make a joke and roll with it, the problem is that when you're smug, condescending, and nasty all the time, what it does is it doesn't code switch to anyone. Typically, people don't like condescension at all. In fact, that's why I think on your panel, people were more mad at you than Sansal, who was saying put Republicans in gulags, which is way more extreme than anything you were saying. It's because you're being smug the whole time. So it rubs people worse. And in general, shaming people for deep intrinsic beliefs doesn't cause people to change. In fact, there's a dearth of data that there's a large amount of data that shows it causes people typically to become defensive and move more towards their original position.
Okay, so my position is not we should be shaming people in mass to change their votes. So I mean,
after
if you
you're
want to
done, we're going to give
my position, we can do that too.
Yeah. Okay, counterpoints.
Yeah.
Please.
So I actually I don't want to be exclusively in political commentary for the next 20 years. Okay. And I'm sorry, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera while I talk just because my toddler is refusing to leave the room. So anyways, The point being that I am about political efficacy insofar as we're trying to figure out how to combine alt media and normal media. Okay, that's what we're trying to figure out how to do. We're also trying to figure out how to get mainstream politics to talk to alt media political people. Okay, and what's happening is we're talking about this fucked up joke, and I am here to police the jokes a little bit, and I'm bringing it up. And Steven's probably the most successful person here. And he's like, lol, wouldn't it specifically be female style of masturbation? And I'm telling you, that's the exact kind of fucking thing. It's funny. I'm not going to say it's not funny, but that's the exact kind of thing that if I try to book with a mainstream person and I say, oh, hey, I have this guy. He's huge in alt media. He's got tens of thousands of listeners. He's got millions of post-recorded views. He wants to canvas. He wants to be active. Can we do an interview together? And then if somebody takes that clip and they blow it up, they're going to be like, isn't that the guy who talks about like prepubescent female masturbation? And they're going to say no. So you're right. I do want to police your jokes a little bit.
Yeah, but like, what's the problem? Wait. What's the worst part? What's the worst part that would make me unbookable? Do you know what it is?
Well, I would say probably your abrasive personality and sex dramas.
No, I would say it's the fact that I'm on the left. You don't have to go to abrasive personality and sex dramas. Andrew Tate was like the leading red pillar for 2 years, and the conservatives.
That's actually a half decent point.
And he was invited into the White House, by the way. And that's not stopping any of these people from getting invited on shows. If anything, the problem you're describing, Connor, is that the left needs to be less uptight about who they invite on shows, which, by the way, they're pivoting to. I don't know if you've heard like the Washington Post story from today, but they are realizing that, like disowning people over policing for this kind of stuff is a waste of time and it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the big issue is that, like, you keep saying like people don't like condescension, or people love condescension. They just like it when it's on their side. People absolutely do. You can see a billion people looking at Trump and everybody else being condescending as fuck to their political adversaries. People like it. They just don't like it when it's directed at them.
Side. It bolsters your own side, but that's not effective in pulling the opposite side, which is what
politics isn't won by pulling the opposite side. The goal shouldn't be how do I appeal to my diametrically opposed political enemies at all points in time. At some point, you have to have
the moderates. It should be how do I appeal
to our own side of people that like can go out and vote. How about appealing to like your own party members that are like, these are Democrats and feel demotivated as fuck and don't like to actually go out and do anything because our whole party is just living constantly in the criticism of conservatives who have never in their lives considered criticism from the left.
Stephen, part of why you're effective is because you can do both. And what I'm saying to you
I'm not a politician, so there's like a double. It's careful. I'm not trying to get elected, so there's like a different type of thing that I'm going for. I'm just saying like people on the right
behind politicians, and that's going to get you're very effective at getting people politically active. What I'm saying here is that, like, I guess to Soy Pill, right? I understand that your position is not to be mean people to get them to change their votes. Got it. My criticism to you on the Tally thing specifically is that when you're mean to Tally and when you talk about her in such a smug, condescending, and disregarding way, you're signaling to her and everyone like her that basically you look down at them as subhumans. None of those people.
Hold on. I never used the word subhuman, but I do look down on them, and I'm going to be very explicit and public about that. And I think that anger is the same thing that a lot of people who are disaffected on the left, who feel like they don't have people who will go out and say what people like, the same people that say, oh, Trump says it like it is. There's a swath of leftists like, why are these Democrats being so fucking nice to these people that are killing my family, who are stripping their rights away? And I'm like, hey, dipshit, you should not be the authority here. That's very different from reaching out to specific voters. And if people clip that, whatever, but we tried being perfect for 2 fucking elections, and they're going to clip everything from the perfect party of the most. Wait, hold on, I finished. These smug liberals who are going high get clipped.
We've never gone high.
Things.
No, stop this. Never gone high. The Democrat Party has never gone high.
Of course we've gone high.
We've never gone high. Nice enough in the Clinton era. Oh, oops.
Hold on. My only question to you is the Tally conversation is it effective? That's all I'm asking.
Wait, can we real quick? What happened in this? Wait, real quick.
No, he's got to answer
this Tally conversation.
I'm saying no. It was not effective.
What happened? What was the conversation?
A TLDR.
Can we summarize it? Yeah.
Sure. I had Stardust and Short Fat Otaku, or Dev, on my show to talk about did Democrats and Tally. It's a Wick and Tally show. I co-host a show with her every week, and so our guests were Stardust and Dev, and the subject was, did Democrats contribute to the rise of MAGA and how? And we talked about that. Soy Pill ranted and raved in chat and started DMing me saying he wanted on. And so about an hour in, I let him on, and he started going after Tally and calling, like, why are you even here?
I went after
why
Tally.
are you on this show? Etc.
Tali voted for Trump and was speaking as some sort of like, what should the Democrats be doing moving forward, when she does not give a shit about policy, which she admitted multiple times, raised her hand to say she was a vibes-based voter, like when questioned about specific things like January 6th, which she acknowledged is bad and knew all the details of before voting, still did not care. So it's like, why waste any time, one, listening to this person for advice, and two, not shaming this person out of the fucking space for having absolutely nothing to contribute and admittedly being retarded. That's very different.
But you already acknowledged. It's not that different because Tali's
it's 100% different.
It's much close. Tali is a voter and she's basically
one voter. I will shout out.
Tali, if you think that Tali is like distinctly more stupid than the average voter, I don't know what to tell you.
I didn't say that. I said that she's a pundit, which is different from talking to someone that I'm trying to convince. She's barely a pundit.
She doesn't even have.
She's in a public space, and I'm yelling at her for that, Kyla. So if I'm talking to Matt Walsh, do I have to be nice to him so that I can convince the Republicans?
Tali's like Matt Walsh.
There's some people that deserve scorched earth. The issue is you already said it's not effective. My question is,
I said that conversation was not an effective one, no.
So why are you defending it?
Because it's an actual authentic expression of my anger at someone stupid being used as a position of authority. And I think it's fine to do that every once in a while. It's not some
I agree. I actually agree with you. I agree, which is why I said in my opening statement, I don't expect you to be perfect in your advocacy. But if all you have is conservative fatigue and that's why you're taking it out on them, again, it's fine. But what I'm talking about
that's not
is
all I have.
efficacy.
Okay.
Wait, I'm just curious. Wait, on the Tali thing, would it be more effective to spend an hour roasting the fuck out of her and getting a bunch of other people to laugh at her, or would it be more effective to spend an hour trying to convert her to vote differently when she probably won't? I feel like you just make fun of these people.
She definitely will vote differently, is my suspicion.
She said she wouldn't. She literally said, I actually don't know if I'd vote for a Democrat. After 3 different shows, your show, Live and Learn, and our panel.
At this point,
yes, because you spent the whole time calling her retarded.
Of course. She's literally gone on a circus chase of every liberal getting in their list on stupid.
Nice.
Yes. Oh,
did it work?
I was nice.
Did you
You're
change
right.
her?
I was nice.
Did it work?
Yeah, when 4 out of 5 people are bullying the fuck out of you and one person is nice, why would you be like, oh yeah, it turns out everybody in this tribe is great. Soy Pill, fuck this. I've been waiting for 10 goddamn minutes listening to you fucking rant. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. I'm talking. I don't want to hear.
My whole point is there are other people like
no, Erudite, still talking. White man, sit down, listen. Jesus Christ. So anyways, the whole fucking point of this is that you were like, Democrats were so nice over the past fucking 10 years. Where the fuck was that? What the fuck are you talking about? The whole goddamn reaction of the right wing has been to snide, smug, far left dickbags running fucking media for a decade, running social media for a fucking decade. That's why Elon bought Twitter. Not just that, but in 2016, I wasn't going to vote for Trump, but I wasn't going to vote for Hillary Clinton either, because jihadist terrorist attacks were happening every other goddamn month, and the Democrats were talking about bringing in 250,000 new fucking refugees. Not just that, but in 2020, no, I'm not done yet. Thank you. I listened to you for 5 minutes. You can listen to me for fucking 3.5. So the other thing is, in fucking 2020, we had the goddamn summer of love, where basically, like, not only did we have the COVID lockdown bullshit, but we also had BLM going on and people saying fiery but mostly peaceful protests. Do you know how oftentimes I see that bullshit where Democrats, regardless of all the fucked up shit of Trump, again, I can list all the fucked up parts of Trump better than you can. Summer of Love, Chaz Chop, sweeping for jihadists, sweeping for BLM is still brought up, and that's not good behavior.
Yeah, none of that is anything we're talking about regarding mean comments. If you want to talk
yes, it is. You said that you were on your best behavior for a decade and it didn't work. Don't gaslight me in real time, you fuck.
Why is saying fiery but mostly
you were on your best behavior for 10 years and everything I listed was your best behavior?
Calm down.
No, I won't.
Okay.
Don't tell me that you're fucking lying to me. Don't lie to me.
Okay, fiery but mostly peaceful. That's Democrats being mean?
It's Democrats sweeping for the BLM riots of 2020. It's bad behavior.
Clear, in the entirety of all we have the fiery but mostly peaceful from the one CNN Chiron or whatever, yeah. The Chiron, that one thing compared to
let Destiny go,
but hold on, just to be clear, we're comparing that to the entire
subhuman conservative apparatus claiming that Haitians in the United States were eating cats and dogs, and that message got repeated by the president of the United States of America on a debate, and then it was repeated by the vice president, J.D. Vance, and he said, I knew it was a fucking lie, but it gets people talking. And now you want to hold us to some standard of, well, remember when that one CNN during the BLM riots had the thing in the background? It's like, fuck that bullshit. Make fun of dead kids and fuck all of it. It's fucking retarded. The United are so insane.
The argument doesn't need to be that Dems were holy and perfect and that Republicans are bad. Republicans are way worse than the Dems have ever been. It's just annoying when you guys are being like, the Dems have always played it high. 2016, Hillary was not playing it high. It was absolutely dirty.
Can you name one not high comment that she said? What was dirty? She said
like
basket of deplorables, right? And they're still holding that over. Like that's
just, the entire
worst thing you can point to.
I just want to be clear.
The entire campaign was smearing him.
Yeah, I just want to be clear. It's not just about the.
Hold on.
All of the news, the news.
Okay, wait.
Reporting accurately is smearing. That's your problem.
Yeah,
that's Trump's problem.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
This is
a mistake. Soy Pill, you're making a mistake. Soy Pill, you're making a mistake. It's not just about what the politicians say. It's what about your side says. It's what's about your culture says. And you would have to have not lived through that time if you thought the Democrats, I'm talking about the people, I'm talking the rank and file, treated Republicans or even moderates well. A lot of people disowned their families, right, during that time because they thought they might be voting for Trump, right? They literally won't talk to their families. They literally excise people from their friend groups. It was a huge issue, and it turned off a lot of fucking people.
I don't disagree with this, but the problem is I guess we're going to keep conflating these different parts of what is being mean, right? But this whole strategy.
Is that not being mean?
Hold on. No, excising your family, by the way, is a very mature thing to do if there's crossing a line that you think they shouldn't cross. And I've done it before. And that's very different from, hey, you're a fucking idiot. No one should talk to you. You don't know how to vote, which I agree turned some people off in 2016. I know a lot of people who were turned off from the Dems by that. But when I'm talking about they go high, we go high, they go low, that is a very different strategy. That is, hey, these people are smearing and calling names and like dehumanizing, and we're not going to do that. That is what the Dems have been doing up until about like the weird comments from, or maybe like Joe Biden saying,
relevant point, so I went next.
Will you shut up? You know, this is what we're talking about. And then, yeah, you can talk about the populists. Obviously, they're going to be way more, edgy than the politicians, but the politicians of the right are going low every single time, and it is not hurting them.
Okay, I have a relevant point. I want to make it before anybody else fucking gets in. Don't piss on my leg and fucking tell me it's raining, okay? Kyle Rittenhouse specifically. I already know that this is a perfect point about Democrats misbehaving very badly in reference to this because Steven recognizes this point. All the progressives, all the fucking libs, and the mainstream media establishment, and the president of the United States himself ran with the narrative that a 16-year-old kid grabbed an assault rifle and committed a mass shooting against BLM fucking protesters and killed 3 black people in Kenosha, Wisconsin. But as soon as you watch the fucking video, it's obviously not true. Now,
Steven, I don't disagree with you.
I'm not done.
Can I back you up? Wait, but I can back you up. Here, let me back you up.
No, let him finish, please.
The reason why I respected Steven so much was because he was willing to pursue truth, political side. I actually stopped respecting Vosh as much because he went exclusively with what was convenient to his political side. So if you guys start engaging in that behavior, I will lose respect for you.
What did Biden say? Didn't Biden say that he would respect the court's decision on the Rittenhouse case?
Yeah, he did. He also retweeted out a video calling him a white supremacist mass shooter.
So, hold on, wait. It was like it was implied with the way that the compilation video, but like the fact that you just said that is crazy to me.
Do you think that it matters that the president of the United States calls you a white supremacist mass shooter? Obviously, it does.
I think that if you're going to obsess over a single video that was made, that he retweeted on his account, and you're going to claim that like, oh my God, this was so horrible, and ignore the 50 trillion insane things that Donald Trump, the president of the United States, the leader of MAGA and the Republican Party says daily, that's a standard that we're never going to win, which is why we just make fun of dead kids and everything else. Because you were never going to appeal to people like you. It'll never work. You'll always be able to find one person. You'll always be able to find one bad person on Twitter, one bad lawmaker, whatever, one bad person that says anything. And then meanwhile, Republicans are like rapid firing out the most insane things ever. You want to talk about Rittenhouse? What about George Floyd?
Okay, Steven, you've gotten lazy in your argumentation. I'm not that guy. I talk about George Floyd. I'm not
talking about you.
I spend 90% of my time.
This isn't about you. I spend
90% of my time criticizing the fucking right because they've lost their fucking mind.
This isn't about you. This isn't about you. Huh? This is about the electorate.
Yeah, it's about you.
No, it's not about me. It's about the electorate. I thought we were having a conversation about the electorate.
No, it's about you.
What is it about me? I'm voting probably no matter what.
Engaged in bad behavior that I think is ineffective and counterproductive, and I don't like it. That's why I'm talking to you.
And I'm saying
the conversation is about the
It
tallies.
seems to be that everybody on the Republican side can be the most degenerate fucking people they want, and they don't. It doesn't seem to be
giving them that permission or license.
But it works.
No, it doesn't. It's destroying the fucking country.
It works for their party. It works for them to win elections.
So then why don't we just start doing misinfo? Why don't we just start doing misinfo?
Because I think misinfo is bad.
Yeah, so is like treating other people like they're subhuman. I didn't say edgy jokes.
Being condescending to somebody is not a morally horrible thing to do. It's just
nobody
rude.
fucking said it was, Steven.
Then why are you comparing that to lying?
Because I'm talking about efficacy.
We're not talking about efficacy to forsake morality. The difference between being condescending or telling mean jokes is different than lying.
I thought is that we can actually talk to the other side and engage with them and not go scorched earth all the time. I thought bipartisanship was some of the value. Yes, they are more deplorable in every single way. I will just grant this to you every single time.
Kyla,
but what I'm talking about, don't fucking interrupt me, is Connor and Tallies, who are people who are don't like the right. They think it's despicable. Maybe not Tally. Let's just say Connor, who are informed, are looking at the left's behavior and also find it deplorable. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, can't we just tweak that? We are already good at policy.
You abandon.
We're already good at policy.
Because of that, he's
You abandon those people because they're not worth appealing to. You're better off energizing your own side. If somebody can sit in an area where they look at one guy and they see him rape 500 people, and then they look over there like, well, that guy he made some rude comments about some woman's bra or whatever. So I think these two things, I'm really undecided. You never even waste time with that person. You just try to appeal to, you energize your own side, or maybe you find people who are genuinely, legitimately in the middle. But if there are people, like I said, I haven't seen the Tally stuff, but if this is somebody who's legitimately undecided about both sides, this person's fucking retarded. You don't waste your time on that person. Why would you put
I'm telling you, the average moderate is fucking retarded. I'm telling you that the average moderate is that most voters.
Clip it, and the Democrats will never win because you just said that. We're done. Why'd you say it?
Actually, I disagree. I believe that democracy works with retards. I actually think that it does. I think it's baked into the system to assume that people are fucking stupid. Okay,
I also agree.
Great.
But you're saying on one side, Steven, I love that you can go out and be this person who reaches out to people. However, because you made this edgy joke, or because you cross a line sometimes, that's like poison to the thing. And it's like, wait, hold on. You're quoting people at events that say they like him, they're Republican, they're conservatives, and they still show up despite not liking the thing that he said. Clearly, it's
because
not
they
the
think he's funny and entertaining, not because they would ever side with him in any political agreement ever.
If you guys agree with me, then why? Well, he's walking away now. Why is Steven right now saying, don't reach the retards, abandon them? It sounds like you guys disagree with each other as well. I'm saying we have to reach the retards. Yes, the extremists will never reach. I'm not talking about the embedded MAGAs who will never move. I'm not talking about those people.
By the way, I think Steven just got tired.
No, so clearly, Kyla, I'm not saying don't reach out to people who are retarded, because I do think most people are stupid and we do need to appeal to stupid people. What I'm saying is we are not going to waste energy policing our own side, saying, hey, there's some unambiguous, we can't really tell you how many people this is.
How am I even policing our own side? I'm not trying to cancel. I'm not saying that you guys are bad, that nobody should support you. I'm saying,
is that not policing?
I'm saying you would be more effective if we actually held to the standards that we say we care about. The right is fucked in large part because they've forgotten to have principles. They don't have them. They don't even begin to espouse them anymore.
They're in power right now.
They're getting fucked by the one principle that they held, which is around the Epstein files. It's fucking them over. When you hold standards for yourself and then you fail the standards, the people notice. The problem the Democrats had is multifaceted. Number one, we pretended to have moral standards that we never gave a fuck about. Going to the progressives. And number two is that the standards that we do have, which are good democratic standards, we are not always upholding to. We need to be more clear about when we're upholding to them. There are some people that we need to go scorched earth over, but I am telling you, Tectones and Asmongold's don't need scorched earth, and neither do Tallies. Those are not the people. The Matt Walshes, go fucking off.
Winning
don't
some
care.
people over by being uptight like we were for 20 years.
I
don't see this happening.
Soy Pill, there's literally people in my comment section who stay. I would like to interject. Thank you.
Sure.
So there are people who come into my comment section and they say, oh, I really liked Steven until X. And you know what X normally is? It's either the past fucking week with the dead girls, or it's Corey Compatore.
Yep.
It's the fucking firefighter. What's that?
Are they saying they're going to vote Trump now?
You guys claim God guided that bullet, okay? So I'm just laughing at it.
Well, and by the way, actually, hold on. This brings up a previous point. So you were saying that like, oh, it's just jokes. It's just jokes. And actually, that Soy Pill's probably brought it up more than anybody else, saying like, oh, you're trying to police our jokes. You're trying to police our jokes. Excuse me. Correct me if I'm wrong, because this is the malice that most people are identifying, is the fact that you and I both genuinely believe that MAGA is a quasi-fascist movement that doesn't care about the rule of law, the Republic of the United States, or its people, correct?
Yes.
And that's why you don't care that Corey Compatore or whatever his name is wittingly or unwittingly, he's effectively supporting fascism.
Who's this person? I don't know this person.
It's the firefighter who got shot at Trump's rally.
At the Trump rally in Butler.
I care that a person died. I care that right now when Medicaid gets shut down, the red states are going to be hurting the most. It's a little bit like, well, you voted for this, but like I care that people are dying.
Steven, do you care that Corey Compatore died?
I think you can joke about it.
No.
Corey, do you care? Or Steven, do you care that Corey died?
Well, I mean, it's bad when people die, but I'm not
Do you
gonna
think it's funny?
spill any milk over it. I mean, a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you can make a joke about it and it could be absolutely funny, 100%. Yeah.
So why can't we make a joke about
what I'm pointing
October
out is
7th
that there is an
Hold on,
underlying malice that
please.
you are
Counterpoints.
denying.
Counterpoints. Why can't we make a joke about the October 7th stuff then? That's funny.
Do it.
What's that? Make a joke
good
about what?
about it.
The October 7th stuff, right? When Hamas came in, got all those Jews. It's funny, right?
Yeah, you can.
Jokes.
I just expect people to be fucking pissed off about it and stop supporting you politically.
What was the God? Do you think someone here is going to say we can't joke about Jews?
Well, no.
No.
Wait, hold on, Soy. Do you think we can make jokes about October 7th? Are you okay with that?
I would never make a joke about a Jewish person. That's not my thing.
I make a Holocaust and October 7th jokes all the time. Of course, obviously.
Hold on. Do you think that the people making jokes about it on October 7th drew people to their side or pushed them away?
Yeah,
No.
Is there an undercurrent of malice? This is relevant. Is there an undercurrent of malice within the joke?
Yeah, it was the policy. It's not the fact that people like Hassan or whoever the fuck are making jokes about October 7th. It's the fact they actually legitimately 100% support Hamas. That's a big difference.
No shit. That's why people are pissed off, because they actually think that you don't give a fuck when conservatives die because they're the victims of their own policy.
Bullshit.
Yes.
My God.
That's literally the point.
Destiny really thought that God smited those girls for masturbating with NordVPN? Seriously?
No, they think you just don't care about.
They think that you don't. You think that. They think that you feel that Republicans are
underlying malice, that you legitimately do not give a fuck about these kids. And I'm pretty sure I heard that you don't give a fuck about these kids. I'm pretty sure you said you don't give a fuck.
I'm just tired of the Martin Bailey. I'm just so tired of this Martin Bailey.
There is no Martin Bailey. No one
yes, there is. They're doing it. You're doing it over and over again. I am saying being mean loses the middle, and then you guys go, so you just want us to be nice and not mean jokes.
Okay, wait.
No, but the way you're being mean in these specific instances is alienating people to your effect, like detriment of anything.
Not policing, by the way.
But the Republicans are mean and they won.
I am.
We don't even know if that being mean is what made them win, Stephen. What's more likely, Stephen? Do you think that Trump won because he was divisive and mean? Or do you think he won because he had 8 years of campaigning, funding behind him, and Kamala had 3 fucking months?
What was the campaigning that he was doing? It was
being in the eye of the public.
And how was he in the eye of the public? By being mean and being divisive. That's literally all.
I don't think that a lot of people were like, yes, this is why I love him. The issue is that Kamala has
literally say that. What do you mean?
Every single incumbent lost. Did every incumbent just lose because their alternative was just mean?
Kyle, have you been to like these Trump rallies where they're all like, God, I love how mean he is to Democrats. All these shirts are like, yeah, Trump that bitch.
Of course. And I've been to Democrat rallies where they also love how mean Dean Withers is to Republicans. Yes, partisan hacks love when you're mean to the opposing side. This is obviously fucking.
That's what we agree.
I'm not talking about partisan hacks. You stupid Matt Bailey.
I would rather.
I am talking about the middle. I'm talking about the middle.
If you want to spend your time trying to convince those people who are undecided somehow still, then you can do that. It's just not a very efficient use of time. If you want to talk from some world perspective, that's fine, but it's not effective.
Who won in 2020? I can't remember. Who was it?
Biden did.
Wasn't Trump mean like the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh, so why didn't he win?
Because COVID literally destroyed his entire fucking
right. So do you guys? Well, Soy Pill, you actually implied that the reason that he won this year in 2024.
No, I'm saying
Trump
being mean doesn't lose you.
That the moderate didn't care so much.
I'm saying, no, that is not the.
You have no evidence for that claim. You have no evidence for that claim.
What do you mean? He won.
He won it?
My point is, this is not a thing that's driving away so many people that it loses you elections. That's what I'm saying.
You have no idea.
The reason people win.
You have no idea if that's even true. You literally said that Trump won because he was being mean. He was divisive and getting
won. My argument is that it did not make him lose.
Stephen just said it. You don't get to run away from this. You guys literally said that him being mean and divisive got eyes on him, which was free campaign money, which is what got him to win, and that the moderate didn't mind it.
Okay,
right? And in fact, they enjoyed them being mean to the
things happening, and it is a very popular thing among his base. That does not mean it is the reason he won. And I'm not saying that. I don't think Steven's saying it either.
Like, here's a really simple question. Let's say that Trump became more. If Trump became more inclusive with his rhetoric,
that's not a Martin Bailey.
Hold on. Let Destiny go. Let Destiny go.
If Trump became more inclusive with his rhetoric, would he do better or worse?
I think hard to say. I think potentially better, probably better. Actually, I think the moderates would hate him a lot less. Doesn't he have like one of the lowest ratings of like?
He'd win by more if he did that. If he wasn't such a fucking divisive bitch, he would win by more.
Massively high rating. He has a massively high rating.
Yeah, among partisan parties. But I'm interested.
Hardcore fucking right winger.
I'm interested in the moderates, in like the 30%, right? So yeah, of course the Republicans like him because he's getting sick dunks on the left, and I think that that's shit. I think he would have way more popularity if he was less divisive and nasty.
And not just that, there's clear evidence for this.
In the primary.
No, hold on. I was talking. Thank you. Appreciate you. Love you. Listen to you for 10 minutes. So we have all the fucking right-wing centrists or whatever, which, by the way, Stephen, you said no centrist exists. It was me that you were describing that doesn't exist. But we have Konstantin Kisin. We got his fucking schlubby glasses fucking person. We have Lex Friedman. We have Joe Rogan. We have all these people
Richard Hanania
who left 5 years ago, including Andrew Schultz and everybody on his fucking podcast. And what did they do? They used Trump as a fucking Rorschach test. They read in what they wanted to see because the left fucking pissed them off while not paying attention to what Trump said at all. And then they voted fucking right in the last election. So
why did the left piss them off and not the right?
Or that
why
it doesn't matter.
Answer a question. You see that? Yes, I understand you. Yeah. Why did the left piss them off and not the right?
What?
Why did the left piss them off, but the right didn't? When the right is so aggressive on
because
all of these
they're
issues,
white men who want to tell edgy jokes.
It's vibes
about minorities, but not about dead kids.
They want to tell edgy jokes.
Who want to tell edgy jokes about minorities, not dead kids.
It's almost like nobody's arguing about edgy jokes. Soy Pill, congrats.
First of all,
you've arrived. We're an hour in, but you finally
just agreed with us that clearly
I've accepted Soy Pill's argument. I'm trying to police his jokes.
Okay, Counterpoints is in charge while I have to use the restroom. So just
Connor just admitted that these people who have these million like fucking people audiences who Kamala did not go on, and that is a big criticism of what she should have done, are people that want to be edgy, that want to be authentic, that don't want to be policed, and these people are now like young voters are swinging towards Trump. So somehow this is not a way that we should go. We should not be more like these podcast hosts who are like appealing to the everyman, the more authentic people. We shouldn't do that.
No, unironically, what I'm saying is this specific joke, kind of like Kyla said, was more offensive than it was funny. So it was a bad joke. And by the way, actually, Stephen made content about this where he's like, isn't Tectone the edgy guy? Isn't Asmongold the edgy guy? Don't they love shitting on Mexicans getting deported? Don't they love all this shit? Yeah, they do. They're fucking hypocrites. But just because they're hypocrites and they're stupid doesn't mean that you don't have to appeal to them.
But it does, because I can look at how do they grow their audiences? Who's the most popular political streamer in the world right now? It's Asmongold. Where are all of these
people do you think you gained by asking or making fun of like dead kids? How many people do you think you gained when you asked if a fucking father of a 12-year-old if his daughter had sex? How many people followed you off of that tweet?
How many people did Asmongold gain asking about fucking dressing up as a Pokemon trainer to go to fucking catch illegal immigrants, or laughing about fucking Alligator Alcatraz?
Or like people hate Mexicans. Most people don't hate kids.
Okay, so then the issue has nothing to do with, I guess, edgy jokes, whatever. It's just targeting it better, I guess.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh,
well, that would be my argument, is that edgy jokes are totally fine. In the case of these edgy jokes, your timing made them more offensive than they were funny. So wait,
then your issue is edgy jokes. You can't say I would prefer an edgy joke at a later point in time. That makes it not an edgy joke anymore. That's the whole point.
No, I think making fun of dead kids is always an edgy joke.
Okay, so then then the time that you just said was completely irrelevant. You just don't ever want people to make fun of dead kids.
I literally didn't say that. Do you want me to restate it?
You just said it was too close to the event, essentially. That's kind of what you're going for.
it made it probably more offensive to people. In the case of this edgy joke that he made, because it was so close to the event and it was quote tweeting people actively looking for the kids, people found it more offensive than they found it funny, which is why it didn't hit hard. I don't personally care either way. I do think it's ineffective in this case. But I don't give a fuck.
I'll go ahead and stand on business that as a 40-year-old man, you shouldn't talk about 12-year-olds jerking off. That's my perspective.
Right.
I think that as a 36-year-old man, you probably should never talk about patients eating fucking dogs. You shouldn't talk about deporting people. You shouldn't laugh about people getting killed or denying FEMA funds or wildfires, whatever.
Steven, what are you interested in? Growing the biggest audience or being a politically effective pundit? Which one matters to you more?
It's a combination of the two.
Mutually exclusive.
Sure, but which one would you prioritize more?
I don't know at this point in time right now. But I mean, hold on. Are the most politically effective pundits the people that are like doing the inclusive to all people, or the people that are engaging in like the most derisive and the most like condescending rhetoric?
I don't think that Asmongold is engaging in the most derisive and condescending rhetoric. No, what? I think like the strongest that we have, he's just not. He's being nasty, but it's somewhere in between, right? Asmongold, for example, has some level of like being reasonable, being like, man, it's really shitty when conservatives do this stuff.
Did he not dress up like a Pokemon trainer to catch illegal immigrants? Is that not derisive?
Yeah, and then he made the Muslim jokes, and then he walked back the Muslim jokes because he pissed not even Muslim joke.
He does bad
things. He did the spicy fucking Muslim statement, and then he walked it back immediately because he knew he pissed off a bunch of people because he
didn't walk it back because he walked it back because he got banned for a week. That was a different.
Oh, bullshit. Some people actually have feelings, Steven. He can actually feel some level of contrition.
You think Asmongold feels bad about offending Palestinians?
Maybe.
No, I don't. I think Asmongold, here, I'll be super straight. I think Asmongold cares about growing his audience. I think the most important thing to Asmongold is growing his audience fundamentally. However, some things I've noticed him say over and over and over again, for example, is he constantly tells his audience to not be racist. Now, I would put to him and say, it's a little hypocritical to go dress up like a Pokemon trainer and chase around illegal immigrants while also saying don't be racist. Feels like this is going to lead to the same thing. I'd be right with you on the hypocrisy of Asmongold. However, he's also doing things like when people were covering like the super fat chick that was talking about men's issues, he like told his audience like I think 5 or 6 times to stop mocking her weight and that this isn't anything about her like beauty or looks and that they should only talk about ideas, right? So I'm not saying that Asmongold is this perfect arbiter of what we should be like. What I'm saying is he's a pretty good example of retarded middle. He's a pretty good example of it. Somebody who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's just kind of like jumping on waves that will make him popular. And the question to me is, will Asmongold ever talk to you now that you've gone scorched earth with him?
Asmongold wouldn't talk to me before I went scorched earth with him. So
what about Tectone?
I have no idea. Probably not as well. Didn't we literally try to schedule something with him and he bailed?
No, he first of all, he bails all the time because he's ADHD.
Okay, so that the answer is no. So really, that didn't matter.
No, he has been absolutely willing to come on your show up until the point, unironically, he canceled the show on me, thanks by the way, because of the shit that you said about him. He's been willing to engage with you the entire time.
He was willing to come on the show and kept either missing flights or saying he didn't want to travel to Florida or just didn't do it. So no, I don't buy that for a second.
Okay, that's really handy. It's really handy for you.
Well, what was he planning on coming on supposedly like months and months earlier, but never managed to make his way down or had to cancel?
Yes, he was planning to come on for a long time, and he is a flake, but that doesn't mean that he's not willing to talk to you. And I have a feeling that if I messaged him and we had some level of rapport and asked if he'd be willing to talk to you pre all this, like you mocking him for his dad shit, he probably would have said yes.
I'm actually going to back up Erudite. He talked to fucking Chud Logic. Chud Logic.
That's great that he talked to Chud Logic.
Chud Logic.
If I have to play nice with somebody who's going to weaponize their dad's veteran military service,
nice.
You are. You keep trying to say it.
No, I'm not.
I'm not asking you to play nice. I'm going to say don't say these certain jokes.
No, stop. I'm asking you to be nice in the right ways and mean in the right ways. I think when you are mean to certain people is absolutely effective. When you humiliate people who have extreme beliefs that nobody would get on board for example, when that like Endure guy got mocked by Melina, that was super effective. We were super mean to him and it destroyed his career because nobody thinks you should endure abuse. It's a fucking insane thing to say, right?
Why isn't the standard the same on the Republican side? Why isn't the standard the same on the Republican side?
Because they're awful people, and to be clear...
So do you think it's ineffective? Wait, do you think it's ineffective for them?
They're unironically doing evil shit.
Do you think that is hurting their political effectiveness when they're mean to everybody?
Yes.
Yes. Now
Yes.
they're getting
I think the
hoisted by their
issue-
own
the issue
petard.
is- I'm
They are
not
being
even
hoisted
joking.
by their own
Just wait.
petard.
Okay, so you can say this, but just to follow. So a great example of this is the obsession with Leah Thomas. They obsessed over this swimmer girl forever, who I don't remember her. Maybe she was a huge piece of shit. Maybe she was making fun of dead kids and I just missed it. They made fun of her so fucking hard that not only did they get fucking all this trans shit rolled back in all these places, so they actually have like new laws passed because of it. They managed to get her fucking awards revoked at her school.
Yes,
and they
because
won all their
going after
elections, doing all things.
vulnerability.
So, like, where is the ineffectiveness of their messaging here? It seems like it worked really fucking well.
All of these groups that you were talking about, for example, Leah Thomas, people are worried genuinely, and I think you are genuinely worried about this, is destroying fair play in sports. Leah Thomas is absolutely a person that we are under question about whether or not fair play is happening in sports.
Policy. I don't know why you're talking about policy right now. I'm talking about rhetoric.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Can I tell you
in the
how
case
they're
of
being
all of
hoisted
this
by their own
rhetoric,
petard?
you can't shame
I'll just put
50%
my
of the
hand up.
population, not because it's bad to, but because it's ineffective. Now, to be clear, the reason that they're effective in shaming these groups is because they're smaller populations. Does that make it evil? Yes, I disagree with them shaming trans people, which is why I fight with them about it all the time. However, the reason why they can do it and get away with it and not necessarily lose everyone is because they're not shaming 50% of the population. If you shame 51% of the population who voted for Trump, unfortunately, even if you are right to, and I think you are, I don't think it's wrong that you feel embarrassed by
the
them.
Democrats are pests
interrupting me.
that need to be excised and won the
Stop
election.
interrupting
What are you
me.
talking
Stop.
about?
I'm not done.
Okay, we'll keep saying something wrong.
God, you're so fucking impossible to talk
Nice.
to sometimes.
I'm mad.
I'm done.
Sorry, you're making me mad. Okay, cool. So Trump said that Democrats, or the Republicans are saying that Democrats are pests that need to be excised from the fucking like
Fuck me in my
country,
hand, right?
and they won. Like, this clearly is not like, oh well, it's because of the small group that it worked. No, it works when they demonize Democrats. It works when they demonize every minority. It works when they
You're doing it again. You're literally
they
doing the
demonize
thing.
all these
they
people.
didn't win
and
over
it
divisive
works.
rhetoric. Actually, they did. Tee-hee, ooh-woo. Which
I'm
is
saying
it,
it
Soy
does
Pill?
not-
You got to
I'm
fucking
saying-
pick. I would argue.
So
I
easy
would
to
argue.
understand. Hold on,
that
Kyla, I
why
know you're
Trump
smart. You can
won
understand
is
this.
he had
Kyla,
8
please
years
listen to
of
me because you're asking me a
advertising.
question.
8
Kyla,
years of
please.
advertising, and Kamala had 3 fucking months, and our incumbent fell into dementia. Unfortunately,
I'm not disagreeing with
That's
you. And
why
if
we
you
lost.
listened to me earlier too, you'd know I'd said this is not the reason, but Stephen and I's point is that this clearly is not such a poison thing that it's alienating everyone. If he can talk about more than half the country about like this and still win.
Okay.
Okay,
Counterpoints.
on
So
my
what
list
I would
of
like to
issues-
say, I've waited patiently. Thank you. Appreciate you. Love you. Anyways, so what I would like to say is that you asked for an example where Republicans are actually suffering for their rhetoric. And what I would say to you is it
Don't say
took a
Epstein.
fucking decade, but what?
He said, "Don't say Epstein."
No, I will. I 100% will. Fuck
Oh
you.
my
Why
God.
wouldn't I?
Because it has nothing to do with rhetoric at all. It has nothing to do with rhetoric. You're
Listen
going
to
to
both
waste
you
5
cunts
minutes
for 5
yapping on
minutes.
the
Shut
most
up.
irrelevant shit in the
Shut
world.
up.
Oh my
Shut
God.
up. Shut up. Shut up. I'm sick of your shit. All right. So they primed people to think that LGBTQIA are fucking groomers. They primed them to think that fucking every gay person was a pedophile. They talked about how the demon rats, do you know where I heard fucking demon rats? Demon rats are fucking pedophiles and they're trying to groom your kids. They're trying to fuck your kids and they're trying to make them trans and all that kind of stuff. So they did a decade of fucking propaganda about how pedophiles are the most unique evil on the fucking face of the planet. And then Donald Trump tries to fucking sweep the Epstein files and it finally cracks the fucking base. Finally, there's something that they were primed in order to hate so much that even when their cult leader told them, hey, change your tune on a dime, 180 degrees, half the base said, fuck you, we're not changing.
Right,
And don't
Connor,
tell
the
me just
reason
because
this
it's
isn't-
convenient
this
to my
is- no,
argument
it's-
that you're not going to use it as an example. Bullshit.
No, the reason,
fucking
Connor, the
try.
reason it's a bad example is because what you just described was decades of demonizing people, being incredibly mean, and taking all these marginalized groups and just absolutely disparaging them, and it working. And then the thing that's breaking is that he's now lying and saying, actually, I never cared about that. Also, Epstein's not a big deal. Not that he stopped being
Why would you
mean,
want to volunteer? Hold on. So do you think it was evil that they vilified gay people and trans people and fucking other groups in order to be pedophiles for a fucking decade? Was that good or bad?
Obviously, that was bad, and I'm not.
Wait. When you say good or bad with respect to what? It was effective. It worked, didn't it? How many times? I bet even you were probably on
It was
show
very
saying.
bad. I'm making a moral judgment.
Were you one of those people that were saying the most effective ad was saying that Donald Trump is going to be president for us and Kamala Harris is going to be president for they, them? Like, well, this is all hateful rhetoric that seemed to have been pretty effective, no?
Yes.
Yeah,
The
it
issue,
was
the
fucking
question
effective
is,
until they got
when is
hoisted
shame
by their own
effective?
petard. Do you want me to watch you guys go charging down the wrong direction for a fucking decade and then have somebody grab your underwear and give you a wedgie so hard that it goes through your fucking asshole and rips your body in half? Because if you want
explain
me
the
to
you know
let
what?
you do that, I'll
If I
let
can,
you do
if
it.
I can steal a Supreme Court justice seat, if I can have both halves of Congress, and if I can have a fucking authoritarian leftist fucking president for 8 fucking years, then fucking yeah, sure, I'll take a wedgie at the end of all of that. Okay, to eliminate things like fucking Roe v. Wade, affirmative action. Just like, what do you mean? Yeah, no shit. You think the Republicans are like, man, we sure did fuck up right now, real bad because of this whole Epstein business, man. We lost fucking everything.
No. This is 100% the crux of the issue. Erudite and I care about people having souls and truth and all that kind of
pick
shit.
one.
And what
I appeal to the moderator. I appeal to the moderator. Are we going to talk about political effectiveness or what's morally right? He keeps hopping between both arguments. Pick one.
Hold on.
If you win, who gives a shit?
The argument is
solve this. Hold on, Stephen. He can easily just solve this by saying political effectiveness is tied to like,
exactly
your morals.
Moral.
But that
morality
could go either way. That could go either way.
I agree, which is why the group that only had like 1 or 2 principles, because most people, by the way, when asked about the terrorists before the election, were like, well, Trump's probably lying about that. Teehee, right? Which is actually a number of things that moved a bunch of Trumpers off of him when they're like, oh fuck,
did it really move anybody though? Like I don't know if this is moving anywhere.
Yes, one of my close friends who voted for Trump was moved. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. One of my close friends who voted for Trump was moved as a result of that and him betraying his own court.
In your own words, most people are stupid, and you're smart enough to have smart friends who can be moved on things like explaining policy.
Sure, I agree that my friends will be moved by different things. However, when we're talking about shame, we have to talk about what's effective, okay? We do have to talk about what's effective. And in the case of when shame works and when it doesn't, shame works when everyone disagrees with the thing that you're shaming. So if I shame somebody for being a pedophile, everyone's happy to jump on board because we all agree pedophilia is kind of not good. There was a really interesting study that came out in Sweden that was looking on the efficacy of shaming rhetoric on human rights violations versus climate change. And what we found is that when we shame people for violating human rights, people tend to jump on board. When we shame people for things like climate change, which is way less, people are clearly not on board with that one, right? What led is people rallied harder to their climate change beliefs.
I don't know if Stephen is, but I'm definitely not advocating for the scorched earth shame literally every Trump voter, because that's all we have. Because clearly we've talked about a multifaceted approach to this, and you can be mean and edgy and reach out to people, and these are both things that are not diametrically
I agree, and I think that you do that well many of the times. I think that you do that well. For example, I wouldn't be having like nearly as cogent of a conversation with leftists, right? If I was talking to leftists, I would have to go like way the back up. However, what I am talking to is when you talk to Tally, for example, I think that that was a really good example of you failing these principles that we have talked about that you care about. That's what I think.
My principles are when someone pisses me off, I'm going to yell at them. Sometimes I can restrain that, but when they're so stupid and also have the smugness and condescension that Tally has to go and say, hey, I know what the Democrats should do. Yeah, I'm going to call them stupid.
I think you guys
do you need to talk about kids masturbating in order to do that?
Hold on.
Asking you, Soy Pill, not Stephen. I think Stephen wants to talk.
Connor, I think comedy is legal.
Can I finish like my line of argumentation, yours, because I don't care as much about the joke?
Sure.
Okay. So I think both of you are too quick-witted to go scorched earth with as many people as you might want to. Now, Soy Pill, I don't think this is as much of an issue as it is for Stephen. My issue with Soy Pill is honestly exclusively the Tally conversation at this point in time from what I've seen. However, what I've seen from Stephen is that he goes scorched earth with people way too quickly. And I think he's too smart and quick-witted that he doesn't need to go scorched earth first. And I think it does turn people off of him. I think it makes him less effective as a political pundit. For example, there are so many people that approach me regularly going, man, I really miss when Stephen was like more good faith with conservatives. It feels like he goes off super fast. And then you'll talk to conservatives that you disagree with, like you're still respectful with Myron Gaines, who you think I think you probably think 99% of his takes.
I don't know why you keep bringing up Myron when one, we have a respectful back and forth, but two, you will never ever find Myron doing a 2-hour show of like, I can't believe that Dusty made fun of these fucking children. I can't believe he was. My guess is he would probably just say like, oh wow, pretty edgy, bro, and that would be it. So this is not the same type of thing at all. Like this whole like obsession over being offensive is exclusively in the purview of like most of like the Republican lawmakers and the Republican mainstream media and a lot of the Republican alternative media. And it only works because liberals will do it to ourselves too. Like Republicans will be like, I can't believe you guys made fun of this thing. And liberals will be like, oh my God, they're right. That was so horrible that we made fun of those things. And then when Republicans do it, liberals don't even say anything anymore. We're like, oh yeah, it's the 47th. It's the 47th anniversary of kneeling on George Floyd's neck. That's such a fucking epic joke. Good job.
I'm going to be honest, Steven. I'll be super clear with you, Steven.
No, Erudite.
Hold on. Let Kyla finish. Let Kyla finish her fucking point, and then we can give it to you.
If you had
sit on my dick for 8 minutes at a time.
If you had the same social capital with Asmongold, Tectone, or Donut Operator as you do with Myron, I have a feeling that you would be able to leverage your social capital now. They would probably cover for your joke a lot more because they'd see you nuance. And most importantly, as MAGA is blowing up right now, if there's any time to pull people away from the right, it is right now. You could leverage that social capital to do so. But because you've gone scorched earth with retarded moderates, you won't be able to do so.
That's fine, but to be clear, there's no world where that is the case. The two people with some of the most political capital on the right were Kyle Rittenhouse and Joe Rogan, and they got blasted immediately when they tried to stray from the party, even if their vote wouldn't have mattered. They got immediately blasted, and they came back into the fold fucking immediately too. This fantastical delusion of if you play nice with them, they'll play nice with you is only true insofar as you're not as much of a threat to them and their audience that you'll actually start converting people over to the other side. They just want you there to look like, oh, well, he's kind of like a nice liberal, and that's cool, and so we can like be more respectful of them when we vote to take away all of their rights at the ballot box.
But do you know why that the right is hardly ever moves over these days? Is because the left has made it clear, and Democrats have made it clear for the last, fucking 8 years, that they are not welcome and they will never be welcome in the Democratic Party. And they have done this over and over and over again on a personal level. So yes, you have, hold on, let me finish my fucking point. You have Republicans constantly, you have Republicans, hold on, you have moderates, constantly, right, who are just getting constant shit from the left, like, oh, how dare you speak up that this is a white man and things like that, right? How dare you do this, right? Well, and they will. I've gotten more death threats and rape threats from leftists than I've ever gotten from Republicans, right? The leftists are going to hate this conversation way more than any rightoid would, right? The leftists are the ones that are going to cancel me. You're trying to cancel me for having you on. It's not the rightoids, right? It's this constant thing. We give them no off-ramp. We give them no place to go. And when people like Tali does come on and say, hey, my vote is winnable. That's what she said. My vote is winnable.
Wait, what did you just say?
Comes on and says, fuck you.
You just said that you're getting canceled more. Yes, by the left. I agree. We should stop doing it. We should embrace all of the hilariousness and the edginess. Yeah, I agree. 100%. Thank you. Yes.
Hold on. But Soy Pill, you already agreed that in the case of Tali, it was ineffective what you were doing. And if you
try to win her vote, which I think is a waste of time.
If you want to say, I'm just too tired, I'm too weak, I'm too small bean to be big enough to like be good faith with somebody that just pisses me off, that just hits the threshold of intolerable.
I was not bad faith with her. I was mean to her. Those are
you were absolutely hold on. The entire time.
I've waited. Okay. You asked me to wait.
Insanely bad faith. I had to stop watching. I was so grossed out by the conversation, if I'm being honest.
Anyways, so
are you going to vote
moderates? Okay. Who wins fucking general elections? Moderates or fucking extremists?
But your smugness.
Your base.
Not like
your
you.
base.
That's fair.
Bullshit. It's fucking moderates.
Moderates are the ones that win elections. No, it's if your base turns out and votes.
You think that 55% of the fucking Republican Party is the reason why Trump won?
Wait, you just target these groups differently. You can do both. You can do both.
You can do both. You can talk about kids jerking off, and you can be nice to moderates and win the moderates.
Yeah. That's not what I'm talking about.
Hold on.
You can galvanize your base and also appeal to moderates. This is obviously true.
Sure, and I think those are two different but those are two different strategies.
Steven and Soy Pill are alienating moderates intentionally. So they're being
you're joking.
If you're going to be alienated by comments like that from the left, but never anything that's a million times said more by the right, then it's not worth targeting. Fuck them.
I don't know what to tell you. People talking about dead kids.
Alienated from the right who are available for you to scoop them up, but you're being a piece of shit, so they're not going to fucking listen to you.
I don't think you realize how precarious you have to be with these people if you're trying so fucking hard to make sure that nobody is saying the wrong joke or something to keep them there. And then if you do, the microsecond that happens, then they retreat back to the most disgusting, divisive fucking person on the fucking planet. I don't know what to say.
Isn't it sad? Isn't it sad that the social rapport that the left has with moderates and with everyone else is so poor that they're literally picking a piece of shit rapist over us because they find us so fucking distasteful?
Kyla,
that's my entire argument. Is that yes, they are retarded for it.
But that's our argument.
Yeah, no, Kyla, this whole time I've been
should
saying
figure out how to be a little bit more likable.
Is a waste of
the
fucking
likable
time.
is shitting on the other side. That's why people dehumanize people. It works.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, progressives and liberals have been so fucking annoying for the past decade that the American people picked a rapist.
Annoying
over you.
is different from being mean and being authentic and like actually expressing like a disgust or a frustration with people, which you've been doing, Connor, and I think is very authentic. In fact, I appreciate when you yell in this conversation. But if you were up there being like, well, I can't be, if I yelled at Soy, then he might not like listen to what I'm saying. No, I'm saying we need to put our energy into getting as many people to understand the consequences of their vote, whether that's for the Democrats or the Republicans, and anything past that is a waste of fucking time trying to tiptoe and walk on eggshells for people like Tali, who, like I believe she said in that conversation, Kyla, no, actually, after all this, I still won't vote for a Democrat.
No, that's not what she said.
Should I waste
That's
my
not what
fucking
she
time?
said. You were
She said she's
misrepresenting.
not sure. She's still undecided,
No,
which is fucking retarded.
The worst part is, I bet you if you were way less heated with her, especially talking to you two ODD freaks, I can't believe I have to explain this, that when people start demanding that you say something, what's the likelihood in that conversation you're going to say it? Because I know for a fact that Steven still won't admit that he's dressing nicer because I encouraged him to, or that he's got an ADHD test because I encouraged you, because he's too fucking ODD. And I have a suspicion, Soy Pill, that you're just as ODD. And if somebody convinces you to do something, you're going to be resistant, especially in a public situation where you don't like the answer, that you are going to forever not going to
bite the bullet.
Okay, so firstly, correcting the record. Okay, the ADHD thing came from my lovely 3-time accuser, Cherry. So thank you. That she was the one that turned me on Adderall. Number one. Number two. Okay.
Crazy.
Number two.
Crazy.
Number two.
I helped
the issue.
book
The
your
issue.
neuropsych
The
test,
issue.
motherfucker.
The issue. I don't even think I took a neuropsych test. I just did I got a prescription via telehealth because fuck those. It's not worth it.
Second of all, explain what ODD is.
The issue is. OD is the name that we give dogs when we kick them violently.
No,
children dogs.
That's not.
The issue is that if somebody can be persuaded by the other side acting at this like -10 mark, and in order to persuade them to the other side, like you have to act at this like +8, and if you drop 1 point, they're going to leave. This is not a person worth holding on to. I just think there's something else that's not aligning there.
No, I am telling you that right now the Democrats' policy is so good and nobody understands it because they hate everything about the veneer of what the Democrats are so much.
What
veneer?
Wait, Kyla, what is about the Democrats now is similar to what Steven's doing at all?
Nothing. I'm not talking about. I'm not even that interested in Steven's edgy joke, other than saying it's probably
just
not
in terms of like being mean, like Kamala and everybody else. Like, where was the mean? Like Walls? Was he the super mean guy? Was Biden the super mean guy?
No, it's the people. No. It wasn't the politicians. This is what you don't understand. People are influenced more by the people who personally attack them than they are by what any politician says. So when you have people in their family, in their friend group,
it's over. Hold on. You have to understand then that if on our side, if we can just point to the Republicans and go, look at what the president says, look at what the vice president says, look what the Speaker of the House says, and on your side you're like, okay, well, look at this. Twitter user 487,000 just said this, so fuck your whole side. Fuck them. I'm gonna go vote for Republicans.
You're not Twitter user 487. You're not.
No, but I'm saying that, like, if on the left you can say, like, if we can say on the right, look, they're lying about Haitians eating cats and dogs, and they literally fucking admit it. You go, what about that one Kai run where CNN said fiery but mostly peaceful protests? Gotcha. And it's like, oh, well, if that's the standard, like, you're
that's not the standard,
come
motherfucker.
on.
It's
literally is the standard.
The damage and 25 fucking homicides. That's the fucking standard. That's the bad behavior. And you should call out bad behavior regardless of who's doing it. That's the other thing that fucking pisses me off. No.
Donald Trump didn't even acknowledge that he
act so fucking obvious, you fucking bitch. No, fuck that. You fucking literally said in this debate, oh, this is the crux of the entire issue is I pushed you enough that you finally said all bad behavior is on the table because the right wing is doing bad behavior. As long as we win, I don't give a fuck.
That's what you said. It's not all behavior. There's worse stuff in life than making a mean joke at somebody.
No shit. Nobody said that. Nobody said that. Nobody said that.
Then wait, where did I even imply that all bad behavior is on the table?
So I'm muting myself because I'm putting on Miss Rachel. So anyways,
where did I say that all bad? Where did I even imply that all bad behavior is on the table?
I'm answering your question. You asked me a question 10 to fucking 15 minutes ago. You literally said, like, as long as it gets me a fucking hardcore left-wing fucking whatever, you were actually excusing a shitload of bad behavior. You might not have used the word.
No, bad behavior or edgy jokes. When am I excusing bad behavior?
Yeah, we both said no misinformation.
I'm not even going to argue with you. Anybody can rewind the tape. Rewind the tape.
Bad behavior is going scorched earth on people who don't deserve it. It's making fun of Tectone's dad because he doesn't like your edgy joke. It's, for example,
Tectone brought his dad out to fight somebody to wield him as a fucking veteran or whatever. So his dad is fair game. Unfortunately, that's kind of how it works.
Saying that he's just sad because the girls died and he has less victims now makes it fair game because once Tectone's dad was public as well.
I'm saying that if you're going to weaponize your dad to win internet arguments, then at that point, I mean, it kind of is, it's kind of out there. Yeah, no shit. That's why when he came back at me and he tried to make fun of me and my son or whatever, he's like, oh, it's fair game. You know, I out of his side of it for my kid. It's not fucked at all. What do you mean? That was the level that we were at. It's not. That's where we were.
It is just because you guys like Mulliks game your way down to hell. Just because you Mulliks game your way down to hell.
The Republicans are already in hell. They're already in hell and they're winning down there.
I agree. They're
winning.
So they're not. They're literally not.
Literally are. What? Literally.
No, they won the election in the major bet again. Why? Why? Is it because of edgy jokes and meanness?
It certainly didn't hurt them.
Do you think that that's why they won?
I know that Nikki Haley and DeSantis didn't even get a debate with the meanest guy on the planet, so it seems like it didn't affect them too much being mean.
Okay.
Yeah, was it Schultz who came on and said that all Puerto Ricans live on an island of garbage, and they actually were able to turn that into a promotional thing where Trump drove around in a fucking garbage truck and then won the election? Like it really doesn't fucking matter.
Because when Biden said the only trash that I saw there were the MAGA.
You're screaming about how awesome Republicans are.
I
don't think Republicans are good.
Do you think Joe Biden's mean?
I don't need this. I don't need this. You don't need to convince me that Republicans are in hell.
This is about Joe Biden. Do you think Joe Biden's mean? Do you think Joe Biden is mean? Does he?
No.
Okay, so when he says, "Hey, the people who call all Puerto Ricans garbage are garbage," and they use that as a promotional thing for their campaign, and then are able to win off of that, what would Biden do?
That's not what they won off of, you stupid motherfucker. What I am saying to you is that
fucking helps.
What I am saying, no, it did not. What I am saying is that despite, let me fucking talk. You gotta let me talk now. What I am saying is that despite how awful they are, despite the fact that their principles are in hell, people still find them a better choice than the Democrats. And I am saying that the reason why the Democrats are so disliked, despite our principles being higher, is because of shitty behavior, particularly because we are the side that says that we're the moral good guys. The Republicans aren't doing that anymore in any way, shape, or form.
Because we say, like, you know, the Republicans all.
No, I think that I've said this a million times.
That was the reason.
I'll say this again. The reason that we likely lost is because Trump had about 8 years of campaigning and Kamala had 3 months because her incumbency had dementia. And also something weird happened globally that the right and incumbents overall just failed, probably because of inflation post-COVID.
I think
that's probably why we lost.
You're right. That's such a bigger factor. And like nowhere, especially when Tim Walz and the whole campaign started calling them weird, was that the thing that was like, well, moderates were like, whoa, hold on, you're calling them weird?
I don't have an issue with being mean. Soy Pill, again, I don't know.
Hold on, Soy Pill, do you not think there's a difference?
Beginning, and I'll say it again so that you can engage with my argument. I don't know what's so hard about my claims, but then stop saying you just want us to be nice. I've never for a second said be nice. I think that this is weird was super effective because it's mean in an effective way. And what I'm saying is that when you're smug and nasty to Tally, it's ineffective. And I said in the case of Stephen's jokes, unfortunately, they were ineffective.
Republicans weird, smug, and nasty, Kylo?
Not to the same extent. Hold on.
What,
do you think
like, hey,
hold on. Do you think calling Waltz calling Republicans weird is the same as making a joke about dead
work for your argument? You can do that, but then I don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Every single person can understand that if somebody says that's really weird, that it's not the same thing as being super smug and saying things like, here, let me pull up the notes. I think you should be embarrassed. I am only here so I can tell you to go away. It is unconscionable that you are here and talking in any way. Do you want me to keep going about all the nasty comments?
I actually do want to. I would make more nasty comments, knowing how stupid she is now. Actually, keep going. Based.
Okay. Do you think that that's the same thing as calling somebody weird?
No, I would say I'm much more aggressive than Tim Walz.
So glad you showed up in the conversation.
What level of smugness and condescension is allowed?
I'm not sure precisely, but what I am talking about here is that there's
weird is fine. saying,
don't
hey, these people are
know.
stupid isn't.
Hold
So
on.
what
You're not
is?
going to make me do this thing where I stick out a ruler.
I'll give you one soy
I'm
pill.
not saying you have to give the
kids
exact
jerking
line.
off.
But
Yes, you
what
are.
you
You
advocating
actually
for?
are
Because-
saying you're
no,
doing the.
no,
You're
That's the
doing.
line. I gave it to
You
you.
can have
You're
a
being like,
more
at what point
ambiguous
does
one. Let me listen.
100,000
No, no,
grains
no.
of
I'm not
sand
saying that.
become not
No,
a
here,
heap,
let me-
but just a
if
grain of
you can stop-
sand?
you
I'm
can
not
stop
sure
strawmanning it, I'll
precisely,
explain it to you,
but I can
Kyla.
look
I'm not
at a
asking
heap
for
of
a precise
sand and go,
definition.
that's a heap,
What are you
and I can look at a
advocating
single
for?
grain of sand and
What
say,
are
well,
you
that's a single grain
advocating?
of sand.
What are you advocating for people like Steven and I who are edgy in ways that you don't like, clearly in some ways, and not in the other ways because you're okay with being
Not the
mean?
edginess at all. Don't care about the
I'm
edginess.
saying that if you listen, I'm agreeing with you. I
Sure.
understand you don't hate the meanness and the edginess, but then what is allowed? Because it's like, well, here it's allowed,
Soy
here
pill.
it's not, and it's
Soy
like,
pill, I
well,
want to answer your question genuinely.
well, that's cool, but
You
I'm
gotta
not
let me
asking
answer
you,
it,
so-
and then
Yeah.
Hold on.
Don't talk
Hold
about
on,
kids
I gotta
jerking
be
off.
moderator
There's
for
my
a second.
line.
Wait,
Hold
answer
on.
without saying scorched earth. Kalak.
Okay, we're gonna go. Soy's going to finish his question. We're gonna give Erudite a chance to answer it, and then counterpoints.
Yeah.
I know you want in, so
I'm
we're
not
gonna get you in.
I'm not trying to Loki's wager you into the exact position. You have to say this is the line because obviously you're okay with edginess. I know you are. In fact, you were very nice. You clipped the clip of me saying rotarded. That was very nice of you. But when is it okay? When is it not? Not explicitly, but what are you advocating for us to do? Is like, oh, this is like, are we going to call out people every time they cross the line, whatever that arbitrary line is? Are we going to waste a bunch of energy having these conversations every week, every time there's an edgy joke that goes too far? What are you advocating for?
What I'm talking about is two things. I think there's some good general rules I think Connor has outlined. In general, probably avoid children. People don't like children shit. Children
They don't
are
even
super
vote.
Parents do. Sorry. People like kids. I don't get it. Kids can be fucking
Yeah,
monsters.
we know.
but
That's
people
why they're
like
trying to
kids.
cover up the Epstein list now, right?
That's true. That's true. They like touching them too. However, in general, I would avoid standing on the graves of dead children, especially within 2 days of them dying. I think in
Yeah, it's
general,
better to swim over
you're
them
always,
like Donut Operator does.
You're
True.
always going to lose that object battle. You just always will. It's never going to be a good stand for you. However, more than that, when I'm talking about like broader, like how we should orient ourselves, I think we need to look at the people that we are talking to, and we need to understand where they are and have a fundamental principle that doesn't say, if you're a Trump voter who's too stupid to engage, I now get to go scorched earth and anything I say and do to you is okay because you're not worth my time. I think that that is fundamentally an anti-democratic principle, and I think it's harmful to our movement to do. However, I think other people do it worse than you two. Unfortunately, you two were the two called in to do this, right? But these would be my principles. You don't have an orientation towards Republicans, that they are ontologically evil, that if somebody has voted for Trump, that they deserve to be treated poorly. And I think
And
that
I'm
you
not
need to
saying we
engage.
should either.
Your line for your scorched earth threshold is way too fucking low. It's more about punishing
undecided
stupid
voter
people
who
than it-
admits stupidity and is speaking as a pundit
Yeah,
of
it's
authority on a panel.
stupidity.
Yeah,
I get
they
it.
deserve it. They
Stupidity,
deserve all of it.
stupidity,
No,
stupidity is
I
not
talk
the
a
line.
lot of
It can't
stupid
be.
people. It's stupid people that are smug and in positions of talking down to an audience of people that I am calling out. And if you want to go back and watch how smug Tolly was being in that, you can, because Tolly's smug too, and that's fine. But I'm going
She
to
was
call it
not
out.
that smug. She was exclusively smug after you came in swinging, which, by the way, you earned, right?
Which is fine, by the way. But I said she was smug before I even went on, which is why I wanted to come on, because it was triggering me how she was speaking as
not
a voice of
smug.
authority.
I
Well, you
watched
can
the
say
whole
that.
thing.
All right. Well, fine. That's your opinion on it. But
What
the
I'm
point
saying is my
that a smug
suspicion,
person
my suspicion,
condescension or any
she
pundit
wasn't.
who
I'm
is
telling
stupid
you.
enough-
I'm telling
Okay,
you.
Tolly
She
was
wasn't
perfect
smug.
on her panel.
The
She was
reason that
perfect. She
you
did
thought
nothing
it was
wrong,
smug is because she triggers you. And that's fine if that type of person triggers you. Maybe you don't talk to them because I think you're pretty ineffective with them. Maybe because it's near and dear to your heart. But for some reason,
effective with
you get
Tolly.
more mad. You've already admitted it wasn't effective. And if you are just frustrated with conservatives, that you want to vent your conservative exhaustion, you can do that. But let's not pretend it's fucking effective for a single fucking second. And let's be very honest about the psychology of behavior, which is that nobody is going to change deeply held beliefs by being shamed in that way. They never,
don't disagree with
ever
this.
will. Okay, great. So that's what
Okay.
I'm asking.
Counterpoint.
Maybe avoid
Okay.
shaming people.
Counterpoints is wanted to go. We're gonna give it to Counterpoints, or he's gonna yell at me in his DMs. But go ahead. Oh, we can't hear what you're saying. Beautiful, wonderful. This is great, gang.
Sorry, I'm working with children.
Fair enough. Oh, okay. So I guess he's not going right now. Okay.
Give me a minute.
Yeah. While he's doing that, the problem I'm having, and I'll step in here for a moment, is that it seems to be your line, Soy Pill and Destiny, for that matter, is if I feel like it, right? If I feel triggered enough, then it's okay. Then I can do this. And I'm saying that it's not okay to just act on any emotion you feel when you feel it, that we should be better, because being better.
Oh, shit. Well, that is, I've never considered that. I thought we should just act on any emotion we feel ever.
A lot of people are behaving like that.
That's so right. Fuck. Oh my God. You're right. We shouldn't just act on any emotion ever. Thank you, Dr.
You know
Wick.
what? Sometimes people need to hear the obvious, because while they say, I understand this, they're behaving like they don't.
Wick, do not act on your emotions.
That was very condescending.
Lower the temperature.
My ODD is spiking right now, so hard.
Your ODD.
Okay.
You're obsessive.
Just reiterating that the line for me is talking about kids jerking off. Just stop. Just don't do it. It doesn't help anybody.
When we say kids, do we mean 16, 18? What are we talking? Are we including time in the womb like they do in Korea, or?
Let's go with Germany rules. I think age of consent is like 14 or 15. So anything under 15, just don't talk about it.
Okay.
Because Germans are pedophiles.
Wait, Connor, I have a question. Someone sent me this, and I actually don't know about this, but I think you have like a past feud with one of our mutuals, and it's like he sent me a video of you saying like I'm pro eugenics or something, and it's like, is that something that is also going to turn people off? I have no idea about.
Yeah, is that Gibbs? Like, and by the way, I'll stand on business for that shit.
Also, when we say eugenic, by the way, that's killing kids, so that's a bad one for you, Connor. Good luck.
No, it's not. Literally, eugenics means good birth. So yes, I'm for CRISPR. I'm for eliminating genetic diseases. I'm for gene editing, the future of humanity. 100%. I'm for good birth.
That's a lot more reasonable than it sounded in the clip.
Yeah, it's not eliminating black people or Jews from the gene pool. It's gene editing diseases out of human beings.
Okay.
What totally fair.
Never mind. True.
But
nice try, Gibbs. You fucking dumbass.
He's been spamming.
He's in my DMs too. Okay. Hey.
Okay. Let's just go back to. Could I bring up one thing?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay,
Tali is, if you guys are okay, Tali is very upset now.
No, she's a waste of time. Don't bring her on. Absolutely not.
Bring her on. I support bringing her on.
Okay, fine. Okay. But I'll
It's not a waste of time. And just to be clear,
well,
if she's a retard, hold on. If she's a retard, do we all agree? Well, is Soy Pill?
Yes. Yeah, we all agree.
Okay. So you think I think she's retarded for a vote too. Just to be super clear, I disagree with her vote, and I think her like grinding her heels in to refuse to say that she regrets it at this point in time is also fucking retarded. And I have this conversation with lots of Trump voters.
Why are you condescending?
However,
is she not going to listen to you now?
No, that wasn't full scorched earth. That was just a little bit mean.
Oh, just okay. So we can be a little mean, but not.
Do you guys want to be like slightly good
totally
faith, or do you just want to be bad faith?
It's totally different.
Well, the point is, I don't know what you're actually advocating for because you're.
No. You guys are literally using being bad faith by running away.
Being scorched earth here. She was just being a little mean. Okay, you should know the difference.
But then, what do you? I agree, but what are you advocating for then?
First of all,
retarded. You're allowed to call these people retarded, right?
Hold on.
Shut the fuck up for just being a pot stirrer. Second of all, I said from the very beginning that I don't know exactly what the ruler is, and this stupid ruler argument is fucking retarded, right? I don't know where the heap of sand becomes like not a heap of sand precisely. However, here's a super key difference. I earned social capital with Tali. I'll call her retarded and still talk to her like she's a person and try to hear her side. And what I think is a big issue is that if you think another person is retarded, you have now elevated your position to them. You are the non-retarded person, you are the knower, and they are the unknower. And unfortunately for you, that means you're not punching straight, and you have to act as though that is the case, which means that if you have deemed all these people below you, if they are intellectually and morally inferior, then unfortunately these standards for you are going to be higher. And if you act both as though you are superior and smug about that, everyone will hate you. So everyone.
How are
will
you
hate
not being smug, condescending, and
housekeeping
calling
here?
her retarded, saying you're smarter than her, and now talking to her and being like, "Well, Tali, this is what should happen."
I don't think I'm smarter than Tali. I don't think I'm smarter than Tali at all.
So you're also retarded, I guess.
Okay.
I don't use retarded to talk about people's IQ.
This is what we're gonna do.
Tali is super smart.
Yeah,
I just think that her vote was retarded.
No one listens to me on my own goddamn show, and this is getting frustrating. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna read some super chats and make a little money today, because honestly, it's more important than any of you or the topic or anything else. Then, again, unless anyone but Soy Pill vetoes it, we are going to bring Tali on because she has been talked about like almost this entire fucking show.
As somebody who's better than Soy Pill, I veto his veto because I'm his caretaker.
Beautiful.
Okay, I'm voting for Trump now. What the fuck?
Okay.
Don't be condescending to me.
Let me read these super chats. I'll go through them as quick as I can. Okay, so we're going to speed through them. $5 from Caleb to say humor is more powerful than heady rationalist rhetoric. Enough of the hand-wringing. Pandora's box is already open. Then 20 gift Gifted memberships from Grassroots Hegemon. Thank you for the 20 gifted memberships. $5 from Hunter Young to say, for the soys on here, would it be more effective for Crockett to double down on Hot Wheels or to back down like she did?
Double down.
$5 from Fancy Teeth. This messaging isn't for normies. This pulls people from the aggressive far left back from the edge, and it on-ramps centrists to the left. It works. Zetsway for 20. The NordVPN tweet was a banger. Optics are for winning, but what is the point of winning if our memes die in darkness? Also, go look at what any pro-clutching MAGA said back when Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked. Then talk. Solemn Argus, thank you for the Tier 1 membership. Admiral Gibbs for $5. Counterpoints the Nazi. White supremacists trying to police jokes and language is peak irony and lack of self-awareness.
Hold on, I need to respond to that. Gibbs, if I could end your fucking bloodline, I would.
Okay,
Jesus.
yeah, let's fun.
Prove a vasectomy.
But Gibbs is white, right?
Yeah, sure. $2 from Deadly Sin to say at CP Sandy Hooks they were harassing parents of kids. $2 from Hunter Young to said Red Pill was effective because Destiny matched aggro. $20 from Grassroots Hegemon to say gender is a social construct. Sex is what I have with Destiny's mom. $5 from Feder Methodist to say it's okay to be a tard. $10 from Malek to say put blank in a gulag is funny. Aw, your kids died. Should have voted Kamala is not funny. Jeff Lewis for $7 say I think more people respect a left-winger that's authentic than care about a stranger's dead kids. The medium is the message. $5 from Hunter Young to say civil rights was acquired by shaming and reducing explicit bigotry to shift the culture for enacting effective political capital. I'm gonna only read the $5 ones, gang. Okay, you guys keep spamming the $2 ones. We're gonna up the minimum. Hunter Young for $5 to say Chaz BLM fiery but peaceful is pointed at, but it's all just MAGA hijacked narratives that the weak-willed people here perpetuate. $10 from the Justice, $35 to say as an actual elected Democrat in office, I find progressives and joke police divorced from reality. Voters don't give a fuck about your jokes on X. I would 100% have Destiny canvass for me. 300 canvassers are greater than jokes. $5 from the Daniel to say Destiny taking Vyvanese means he's either feeling amazing or terrible right now, depending on what stage of the high he's in. LOL. $5 from Will to say Wick said, when they go low, we go lower. I reject this premise. Can anyone actually defend that what he said was worse than things MAGA says? And then $5 from Soyaddle say Wick is...
That.
I don't know. No one listens to my panel. They just take in the vibes, okay? $5 from Soyaddle to say Wick is giving us new content to talk about. $5 from Hunter Young to say Connor acknowledges MAGA is effective because they otherwise groups that are seen as oppressing majority classes. That's why they flip with Epstein. $5 from Admiral Gives to say LMFAO, Nazi Points doesn't even realize he's being peak hypocrite this whole convo, complaining about Edgy being edgy and making kids jokes. Thank you for the $5 Sulak for just a smiley face. $5 from Harvey Marvey to say, has anyone demanded DNA? Oh, okay. We're not going to read that one. $5 from Hunter Young to say NSC says the garbage truck didn't help but defends Tali Vibes, who admits to voting only on vibes, and we need to appeal to people like her, by the way. $5 from Feder Methodist.
Yes.
To say, I've no doubt that everyone on the panel was the smartest kid on their school bus for what that's worth. Let's not mention the length of Soy Boy's bus. $5 from Kyla to say what Kyla is doing is worse.
Jesus Christ, bud, you're making a fucking arm and a leg today. How many more you got?
It's we're almost done. It's infantilization. $5 from Noonian Star to say you can be funny and care about people. Don't let those humorless edits have a piece of your soul. Use code SOYPILL to be based. $5 from Ace to say Tiny needs to stop crying about Trump if he's going to throw out the only means of beating him, aka winning elections. And $10 from Jared W to say turns out those kids in Texas didn't need critical race theory to learn about systemic failure. Drowning in it works just fine. $5 from Testicle Johnson, if those kids were so great, then why are they dead? And $5 from Cage to say who's more effective, Erudite, Destiny, or BTC? And then $5 from Ace to say Soy doesn't understand that progs are a small part of the Dem base, and Dems more so than the GOP need independent voters. Progs aren't enough to win. And that said, God, dang, give me more money. I'm going to bring on Tali at least. Okay, now we can talk. Now the content's back. Tali, cam up. What you got?
Hello, sorry. I was just talking to Deb backstage. We're gonna bring him out too.
Why not? Fuck it.
Who?
Oh, please.
Oh, Deb. Hi, Dave.
The shortest, fattest otaku.
You interrupted our conversation, Wick. How could you?
Well, I told you guys I was bringing you guys on. Okay, that said, let's get back into the conversation, right?
Sure.
Do you feel?
I'll
Yeah, go ahead,
restate
Erudite.
my criticisms of Steven and Soy Pill since they're different. My criticism of Steven is that he goes scorched earth too quickly with people who don't deserve it. And
Oh, one more,
ruins
$100
opportunities.
someone gave me privately. I'm sorry, they gave me $100 to say
Yeah,
this.
fair enough.
Steven is so deeply wrong here. Before the firefighter joke, his work had real impact, especially for those on the right. For many, he was the only exposure they had to someone on the left who was both intelligent and reasonable. The left is held to higher standards because they chose to hold themselves to higher standards. They don't get to fail because the moment they do, it validates the right's narrative that they were never better to begin with. Okay.
Just to be clear, higher standards, if that means to you about whether or not you're telling a joke, you are so beyond fucking retarded that I don't even know how you got $100 to donate. Unless that came from some government welfare program. It's probably being cut by Trump right now, so congratulations.
That was
I
helpful.
like the $100, wherever it comes from. So. Go ahead. Erudite.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, my criticism would be that Steven goes too quickly scorched earth, and I think it's to his detriment. I think it loses him a lot of social capital that he could otherwise have, and that he could be leveraging in times when, particularly, MAGA is falling apart. And I wish that you would do better because I think you're probably one of the more effective voices on the left. My criticism of Soy Pill is specifically your conversation with Tally. I found distasteful, and I was unhappy with it because I think that you generally hold yourself to a higher standard, and I would expect that. Even when Tally is retarded and won't admit that her vote was bad.
Okay, well, I'm much more calm now. So, Tally, what would it take for you to vote for a Democrat in the next election? What can I say to you to get you to come to my side?
There's not just one thing that you could say to me. And I just need to reiterate, I'm not saying that the Democrats should be spending any inordinate amount of time reaching out to people like me. I've declared myself no longer a partisan for the Democratic Party. And so there's a real question, I think, within the Democratic Party of what should the approach be for building coalitions. And you have people built in, the progressives and the more left-wing part of the party, who some of them don't vote, but maybe more of them are more likely to than the moderates, the people who are the disaffected liberals. So I'm not saying that this is anything that the left, that's Connor, I see you shaking your head. I hope that's not what they do. I'm with you, but I don't feel like I'm really truly not trying. I'm not trying to beg to be wooed. I'm here talking as someone who formerly voted as a Democrat and talking about, yes, all the vibes and the cultural things that ultimately pushed me away. I'm not pro-Trump. I wouldn't vote for him again. I just haven't come out and said that I regret voting for him in 2024. I don't know how much that'll do for anyone. I don't, can't change the past anyway. But I'm absolutely a winnable voter in the future. It's not going to be any one thing that you say to me, Soy Pill.
No, it's not about what I'm going to say. I'm saying what do the Democrats need to do to win your vote? I mean, like, you're a former Trump voter, and clearly we need to be listening to what you have to say about the state of the political vibes.
Allie, because I watched the content related to this, could I ask you a couple of things about like what was off-putting about Democrats?
Come on.
Sure. Is this where the conversation should go? Like,
no, I still want to beat them up over their Mott and Bailey. I still want to come at Steven and Soy Pill for making a beautiful Mott and Bailey and hiding behind it and being like, epic.
Wait, what is the Mott and Bailey?
Okay, I keep on saying that being mean alienates the center, and you guys keep saying Republicans are in hell. They're in hell.
Because our point is that Republicans are the meanest they've ever been, ever. And this is the first time they've won the popular vote in forever. So how do you reconcile those two statements?
Because you've already acknowledged that the reason why they won all of this shit seems like it was a mixture of global trends and acts of God himself.
Not just that,
also
though. It
being mean is effective?
No, Trump did not win because of global issues. The Democrats lost because of global issues. How do you explain the fact that Trump swept with no competition the Republican primary after he lost the last election against the same guy who was supposed to be running again?
Why did he win the primaries? Because he has almost all of the voices and names behind him because they were sick of Joe Biden. They wanted to get rid of Biden.
Yes, just like, hold on. If I say, why did somebody win an election? And you say it's because they got more votes than the other guy, that's obviously not what I'm asking.
Sorry, when I say an incumbent,
Trump's divisiveness obviously didn't.
The answer is, when I'm saying not because he got the most votes, sorry, if I didn't make it clear enough, what I'm saying is that he was an incumbent, right? The reason why he
wasn't an incumbent, he lost his election. He was running
the Republican Party. Stop being obtuse.
When I say incumbent, I don't mean to use if the word is incorrect, I apologize. What I mean is he was the president for 4 years and had 4 to 5 years already of advertising behind him, which
Why
the
did he win
years
in
of
2016
advertising
then?
behind a name is super important. What?
Why did he win in
Because
2016?
Hillary Clinton eats babies.
Because Hillary Clinton was so utterly
no.
unelected.
Why did he win the
that's why
primary
Hillary
in
lost.
2016?
Yes, he won the primary. There were way more people
Because
that
the
advocated for your
moderates
guys'
split the
strategies.
vote. No. Fuck this. I'm not going to have you rewrite history right in front of me. I know because I was fucking furious. Trump had like 37% of the fucking vote, and there were 3 moderates splitting the Republican vote. If those fucking cunts, Kasich or fucking Rubio, had dropped out, then we would have rallied around a moderate candidate, and we wouldn't have this fucking problem, and I wouldn't have to deal with the goddamn Republican Party as it currently exists.
Trump was a moderate candidate. What are you talking about? Compared to fucking Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio, you're like staple neocons? Trump's policy-wise was a moderate in that primary.
Do you think MAGA is a moderate movement, Stephen?
In terms of, well, now we're moving south on the political axis instead of left to right. Hold on.
Do you
I don't know
think that
why
some
you're
Republicans saw that he was a repellent,
Destiny go.
incompetent piece of shit all the way back in 2015?
Trump policy-wise was a moderate when he was running in the primary. The fact that he took like a non-committal position related to funding Planned Parenthood, the fact that he bragged about being in Hillary Clinton's fucking wedding photos and shit like that, the fact that he seemed like kind of indecisive or back and forth on like the Iraq war compared to like the hawkish neocons and shit that you had on stage, especially in the form of Cruz and Rubio, he was definitely more moderate than the other guys in terms of policy. He won because he was
Hold on. I feel like you're talking past my point. Okay. Well, maybe moderate is the incorrect word, but there was something called the Republican Party that cared about a republic and talked about the Constitution of the United States and talked about freedom of expression, freedom of speech, the Second Amendment, family values, all that bullshit. That all existed when Trump was there. But Trump hijacked the Republican Party with a cult of personality, and some people, such as myself, saw that was happening in 2015 and thought he was a piece of shit.
Can you think about, just real quick.
Normal Republicans
think about what you're saying.
You said the vote.
You said cult of personality. What was that personality based on?
Wait, but we're talking about different people, though, and that's
Why
what
does it
Kyle
hijack?
said
Or no, we
earlier.
don't follow through. No. Why the cult of personality? Well, because it was based on being mean and divisive.
And that's appealing to
40% of the Republican Party
people.
being dumb as fuck didn't have to do with the original point that we were making.
It's not about being dumb. It's the fact that it's effective rhetoric. It works.
I don't know
So you
if
think
there's
that
a
Trump
point that we
won
should follow down
2016
here. I think
because
we
he
should
was
probably
mean
move
and
to the next point.
divisive?
How many times did we hear because he tells it like it is?
What? Yeah,
That's
wasn't
the
it way
number
more
one-
effective though because Hillary was like swinging at him super hard and he got to always claim counterpunching? Didn't that help his claims?
He
Trump
literally had his
derangement
audience
syndrome.
chanting "lock her up." No, it was not because Hillary swung first. Absolutely
What do you
not.
mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? Trump was way more mean in that general election, and I was even asking why he won the primary. He was mean in the primary. He had nicknames for everybody.
He's a uniquely unlikable
act of
candidate.
God, possibly. It sounds like an act of God. Moderates were fighting over things. and
Okay,
Trump
so
had
I can
split
answer
vote.
to the
We're talking about
2016
different
primary. Just real
people.
quick, Tolly, please. The 2016 primary, one of the reasons, the major reason I would say that the Trump won in that is because he's anti-Iraq war. That was why. And he was one of the few people on that stage who was anti-Iraq war. He was seen as, yes, he absolutely was. And he was seen as
That's
anti-
true. Yeah, I agree with
That's
you on
not the
this.
reason he won.
it was one of the major
is,
ones.
it
He
is.
was seen as anti-establishment in the same way that Bernie was.
He was
right?
heterodox.
And he was seen as a firebomb into the system that was going to change it up. People didn't really understand. It wasn't his divisiveness so much. It was that he was seen as an
Didn't
outsider.
he shit on them
and he
all?
was,
Wasn't he like
Yes.
super effective in the debates?
He was very mean to all of them, actually.
Well, he wasn't just mean though, right?
He
He
was
was
just
mean in
mean.
the right way. No, he was mean in the right
By
way.
shitting on Ted Cruz's wife and by
Oh
saying
my
his
God,
dad looked like
hasn't
the
that been my
Zodiac
argument
killer.
the whole fucking time, you stupid motherfucker? I've been saying the whole time that he's been mean in an effective way, not in an ineffective
What does that
way.
mean, though? The only thing you
that's
say is
why
just
we
don't
keep
go
asking
scorched
what that
earth.
means.
People like when you shit on institutionalists for institutionalist type things. They
Like
don't
his
like when
ugly
you're
wife?
smug and
Like his
condescending.
ugly
they don't like when you shit on dead
Was
kids.
his wife ugly? Wait, was his wife ugly?
No, but she made that joke and he got really popular off stuff like that.
She
And calling
wasn't ugly?
Rosie O'Donnell fat. Ted Cruz is what? Heidi Cruz is not that ugly. No.
Oh, do they hate Rosie O'Donnell? Is that or the period joke with Megyn Kelly or the jokes about McCain being a prisoner of war or like what are all these unpopular things?
I don't want you to have the exact
No,
policy, but that's why we keep asking you, what is effective meanness? Because you're not against certain meanness. You're okay with certain meanness. What the fuck is effective meanness?
Probably not shitting on dead kids and joking about them jerking off. That's probably the line. I've said it 4 times.
Thank you, Kylo.
Why? Is it because you can't contend with the point that I just made? Is that why you pretend it's a non-answer?
No, I just
so every other thing
every single line. I'm not asking
wait.
you.
So is beating the shit out of kids okay, or what? If that's the only 2 categories of things that we can't make fun of, what are the?
Come the fuck on. Come the fuck on. I don't want to do this heap grain of sand argument. I don't know
what
exactly.
You keep saying heap grain of sand. You're doing the Nirvana.
Because you're asking me for it. Because you're asking.
We're not asking you for an exact demarcator. We're just asking for in general.
Right and mean wrong. These don't make any sense. We can kind of get the feels for it. In the case of the primaries, my understanding is that the Republicans were shitting on him first. They were making fun of him for not being a real politician, and he shit down their throats in return. He was more effectively mean at their own game, which is why it unleashed it, because he was counterpunching in the first place.
Rationalize any meanness, though. Like, well, how do we go? What's the strategy moving forward? What? Tell me right now. I'll listen, Kylo. What do I do? What am I allowed to be mean about? What am I not allowed to be mean about?
I think the thing
in
that
general,
that was the most accurate is you need to pick your targets. So, and again, it's weird to talk about this when I'm talking about myself in theory too, but it's not just me. It's people like me or other people with similar dispositions or whatever who are center left, center right. It also depends on who your audience is, who you're trying to speak to, who you care about influencing. It is true that there are lots of people on the right, obviously, who are totally okay with cruelty. Those are people who you're not trying to win over to your side, obviously,
okay.
yes.
Well, my audience loved it. They gave me a lot of money, more money than I've ever made by shitting on you specifically and having a little 2-hour venting session. And then I went back and
you're right, because the far left actually gets more pleasure out of attacking heretics than they do attacking your audience. It's far left.
It's the narcissism of small differences. It's more fun to fight amongst people who are closer to you tribally than it is to fight the opposite, because it's expected that you're going to fight the opposite.
And if I was having a town hall with a Trump voter, I wouldn't do that.
So my advice, again, if we go back to Stephen, would be specifically this. I think I've already said it multiple fucking times.
Can we do it without saying scorched earth?
Yes. No. Sure. I'll drop the scorched earth for today. But also, why the fuck would that even matter?
Because it doesn't mean anything. What does scorched earth mean?
It does mean something. It does mean something.
Define it.
I can't. I've already told you I don't know exactly
when the lights go,
but it's definitely over 50,000. No, stop talking over me. It's definitely over 50,000 grains of sand. I know that for sure. And that's the stuff that I'm talking about.
What is the 50,000 grains of sand?
Sure. One example would be right after a bunch of kids died, your joke has to be really, really, really funny, and it has to be more funny than it is offensive. Otherwise, it won't hit well.
This is a meme answer. I don't understand what you're saying. You're not saying anything of it. You're not saying that scorched earth or 50,000 grains of sand. You're just saying that the sand has to be appropriately colored. So then all these jokes are okay as long as they're funny enough, or what?
To some degree, yeah, that's how humor fucking works. Typically, you decide whether or not a joke hits or not is its level of offensiveness. It has to be a little bit more funny.
Then this has nothing to do with being too mean or nothing to do with going straight. It just has to do with being funny enough.
No, in the case of the joke, I'm giving you a specific answer. My answer to you specifically is that your threshold of when you go scorched earth, which I guess, do you want me to describe it? You get super nasty, you go after them, you don't talk to them, you make a bunch of insane comments about them that go viral, and then that person will never want to fucking talk to you again. That's what I mean by scorched earth. The shit that you've done with Asmongold and that you've done with Tectone. My criticism for your meanness specifically is that I think that your line for going scorched earth is too fucking low, and you're losing a bunch of retarded moderates who would be way more open to talking to you if you were way less scorched earth in the way that you didn't go scorched earth with the red pill. You never fucking did.
I don't even know what you're talking about when you say I never fucking did. There are a ton of these guys that I blew up. What do you mean?
Okay, you haven't blown up Myron, even though he made monkey KKK jokes.
I've kind of attacked Myron before, but I don't know if
not scorched earth.
I say that his shit is crazy. I don't know what else I'm supposed to fucking I make fun of the fact that he says the N-word. He's not really somebody who probably should be able to say the N-word because he's like fucking Sudanese or whatever. Like I don't like. There are plenty of red pill guys. There are plenty of red pill guys that I've gone like super in on. I've gone in on the fucking Tates with that. I've gone in on a ton of other people. What Myron is totally outside of like my area and outside of like everything that I do. If he was if he was the top streamer on fucking Twitch saying fucking insane unhinged shit, I'd probably be talking about him a ton more.
is whatever you need to do to blow up the relationship, whatever that would look like, which there's absolutely, there is absolutely things that you could do.
Anytime I make fun of anybody on the right in any capacity whatsoever, because that's what it takes. That's all it takes to go scorched earth.
You're allowed to go scorched earth, you stupid motherfucker. I've already said, just make sure that the people that you go, scorched earth over actually fucking deserve it and have earned it.
Did deserve it. He was never going to talk to me. He was dodging every single conversation. Even when he got banned, he still dodged conversations, and he's making the most disgusting, abhorrent things possible on Twitch, and he's got the largest audience, and he's brainwashing to be fucking mega sycophants. What more would I need for him to go scorched? Does he have to personally make fun of me?
First of all, maybe. I'm not sure exactly what that line would be, but Myron has said way worse shit. Way fucking worse shit, and you have not nuked that relationship.
Because Myron is not in any area that I communicate in.
I don't know.
I don't know what I don't even know how many viewers their fucking podcast gets right now.
Who cares? What the fuck? Who cares about that shit? I'm talking about the level of social capital you have with people and how much you're willing to nuke it if they say things that piss you off. With Myron, you always couch what you're saying to some level of degree because you have social rapport and you're interested in maintaining it.
Literally
while criticizing
every.
which I think is the right thing to do.
You're just wrong. The problem is that Myron is not like a soy fucking pussy. So you look at that and you're like, oh, Steven must not have upset him, but that's not the case. I made fun of the fact that I think his girlfriend had a fucking OnlyFans-ish Instagram. I made fun of the fact that he comes from the wrong place to be saying the N-word. I'd call him a crazy conspiracy theorist all the fucking time. Like, I roasted the fuck out of Fresh when he had his whole crazy thing blow up. Like, I've gone in on him a ton, but you don't see Myron freak the fuck out because whatever, we fucking make fun of each other and he doesn't take it personally at the end of the day. Like, that's it. But with Asmongold, if I say fucking anything, it's over. And you're like, oh my God, you went scorched for them. That's his strategy, but you're playing into it. Like, if somebody can be that disgusting and that mean to all sorts of other people and they get that turned off because somebody makes a comment about them, then fuck it. Like, who cares? You were never going to appeal to this person anyway. You're playing their game.
First of all, what I'm saying is that in the case of Myron, I think you've done the right thing. I think part of why you can get away with being so critical of him is because you have a lot of social relations.
What's the difference between Myron and Asmongold? Myron will talk to me. I could debate Myron at any point in time.
So Asmongold might be a character where you can never talk to. That's super possible. I don't know if that's true for Tectone. In fact, I'm very confident.
The fact that he dodged however many conversations and the fact that he's now fucking slurping cum at a fucking donut, you know.
Come on, somebody flaking after saying yes.
No, I'm good. He didn't flake. Why do you think it's so accidental? These people are not flaking, they're dodging. It's obvious. We have Discord. There's a million ways to talk to somebody. I don't know how you believe somebody's like, oh, whoops, I can't travel, or oh, whoops, I can't make the show, or oh, I can't do a Discord. No, obviously the people are dodging. And then they rely on your understanding and charitability to just further that narrative. Well, they continue to act like a fucking insane person. And then the second you say something mean about them, a whole bunch of people love you, like, oh, well, look, it's because you burnt the bridge. There was no bridge.
I think it would have been more effective.
Can I jump in on this friendly online conversation? Because every single time, every single example.
Let Kyla finish, and then you can go, I promise.
Okay, what I'm saying in the case of Asmongold is it's possible that if you had warmed up and gotten a little cozier that he would have been willing to talk to you, right? People flake all the time. Maybe Tectone was just dodging. Maybe he was actually flaking. It's super hard to know, but I definitely don't think that because he flaked a couple of times and he has some bad takes, that I'm going to nuke the entire relationship and any potential of talking to this individual. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's harmful. I think it's unuseful.
It was literally impossible to warm up to Asmongold any more than we already had. Like, Asmongold was literally about to invite Dan on because of this whole fucking crusade against Twitch and everything else. And Asmongold even flaked on having Dan on. So no, that was never going to happen. Yeah, intentionally Kyla, not by accident.
Kyla, my issue is like every example you've had, and obviously this is kind of hard to like, project into the future, but they're all post hoc rationalizations where, well, Destiny got a lot of shit for this tweet, so this was a bad tweet, versus, well, this one really worked because clearly it's working, you still have that relationship.
Wait, and like that's not a post hoc rationalization. That's not a post hoc rationalization. Looking at the social response to stuff isn't a post hoc rationalization at all.
How much energy are we going to, how much energy are we going to spend worrying about which eggshell we're going to step on for these people that clearly are able to flip-flop back and forth on very little things versus spending all of that energy into our own side, informing the policy. If you can praise me for calling a congressman, let me finish, Kyla. You interrupt. Okay. You didn't let me interrupt. All right. If you can praise me, which I thank you for calling a congressman retarded, and now he's inviting me out to his town halls, and now like there's clearly not a line. You can't define it. I can't define it. Why even fucking worry about it?
You didn't call Rokana retarded with malice.
You didn't call him retarded at all.
It doesn't matter. The point is being edgy in this situation. The point is I'm being edgy in this situation.
Example.
The point
you want to walk
is,
it back?
The point
Do you want to walk back your example because it was bad?
That edginess
you didn't call him retarded,
bad,
and if you had called him retarded, he would have nuked you. You said, when is Trump going to call you retarded, and are you going to get ahead of it? Which was fucking funny and true.
Great.
It
so
fucking
the point
matters.
Is, you can't draw the line. I can't draw the line.
This isn't a post hoc rationalization.
Kyla, please. Please let me finish. You can't draw the line. I can't draw the line. I'm not going to spend energy wasting time worrying about what the line is when I don't
on the largest political streamer. Are we fucking stupid?
You think on Asmongold? You think that something I could say differently would make Asmongold start converting his audience to Democrats? You think something that Steven or I could do?
In the case of Steven,
are we to do?
There are things that he could do to warm up and pressure Asmongold by being warm, by having some level of pushback that's still like toned and whatnot, that would pressure Asmongold, who is mostly just audience captured, to have Steven on. I do think that that would have been possible. And getting on those shows, which by the way, because of Steven's fucking comment, he's going to get nuked from most Republican shows because they are soy hypocrites. But also, now you can't talk to any of these people, which is fucking ineffective, which is my entire argument. It's fucking stupid.
Back right now, actually.
And if you want to do it, if you want to do it because you are mad and exhausted with conservatives, you can fucking do it. But don't talk to me about being effective. I think absolutely, Stephen, there are things, you're a smart guy, that you could have done to talk to
or which one are we bouncing between? I keep forgetting because we have
already said from the very you're being bad faith, and you know that you're being bad faith.
There are
you know that I've already summarized the position that there are two elements to this, which is that our moral principles are downstream for political effectiveness, but I'm talking right now more exclusively about our political effectiveness, and this is not a crazy take to make. In the case of Asmongold,
we bounce back and forth with these two things.
There's nothing you could have done. There's nothing you could have done to make Tectone connect with you.
For Tectone, maybe, but probably not. Not now that he's part of the new. Now that he's part of the Texas, sharpshooter group. No, I don't think so.
Why? Do you think that's because you nuked the relationship with Donut Operator?
Because those people all fucking hate me too.
No, it's because you nuked your relationship with Donut Operator, which is why he won't talk to you because he's now friends and lives in the same city.
Yeah, because I made a joke and he decided he hated me over the fucking joke, started lying about our real life interactions.
Yes.
Why would I try so fucking hard to appeal to these people? If you want to do it, then knock yourself out. This is
I'm not saying you have to appeal to them and you have to go to them and you have to grovel. But for example, you could go to Donut Operator in private DMs, for example, be like, hey, blah, blah, blah. You could, there's probably things and steps you could have taken to mend that bridge and have enough social capital. Relationship didn't get nuked.
Sure, one question. Can you give me a single example in the past 10 years where a single Republican, either a lawmaker, president, alternative media influencer, or anybody online has ever done this ever? One example ever.
None. I don't want to be Republicans. Wait, what the fuck are we even talking about? How the fuck are we going to say?
You just said, I don't want to be Republicans.
How the fuck are you going to say that we are more morally correct,
because Republicans have both Congress, they have
that we're smarter, and that we know better, but also
so what do you want to do? Do you want to be the morally superior party? Do you want to be the one that's actually winning elections?
Really?
Hold on.
Really?
Destiny.
We have to play the exact same game, and yet somehow we're still losing. That's what you're advocating for.
I didn't advocate for the exact same game.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Look at all these awful things that they do.
That's all they're doing. They make mean jokes. That's the exact same game. It's making mean jokes. Is that what I'm saying? Is that what you believe? Anything? Okay, so nobody said play the exact same game. So I don't know why you're saying play the exact same game.
Why the fuck are you listing all of the great evils and sins of Republicans to me? Do you think that I disagree with these things?
No, I'm asking you. You're saying that this is such a politically effective strategy is to mend bridges and try hard to keep relationships with people on the left. I'm asking if there's a single example of a Republican who's winning everything electorally ever doing this ever. One example.
In the case of building bridges, yeah, absolutely. Who? Winning electorally? I would say like
who reached out to who to build a bridge and mend a bridge? When did this ever happen?
Let me think.
Today?
What?
Thomas Massey, he's doing a bipartisan bill specifically on the Epstein shit, and he basically went hat in hand to Democrats.
Didn't Ro Khanna
Massey is on his way. Massey is getting eviscerated and ejected from the Republican Party because he's turning into a never-Trumper. That's the example?
Good. And to be clear, I'm making a moral argument. Erudite's making an effective argument.
Okay. In the case of which Republicans have done this, I suspect that there's actually a lot. My understanding of the Republican network is here's the thing. Tulsi Gabbard is a great example of somebody that they were absolutely willing to build a bridge with, despite her being a long-term Democrat, because she was willing to toe certain lines.
She was no, Kyla,
yes.
She had a history of very right-wing policy, and she flipped all of it before getting pulled over to the Trump. And that's why everyone was saying, you're going to be a Fox News pundit in 3 years, because they knew she was already a Republican.
Hold on, no, this is a self-fulfilling prophecy. They're like, if I keep calling you conservative over and over and over again, if I keep calling you, you're conservative, you're
making conservative policies.
You're conservative. First of all, you're conservative. Eventually, people are going to say, fuck it, I'm conservative. That's what they're going to do.
Every single person who has said, I'm leaving the left has been embraced.
Yeah, because they're youthful idiots, and Trigger says
it doesn't matter. You stupid fuck, they're winning. It doesn't fucking matter. We won't even let these people onto our side. What we're going to do instead
you said it doesn't matter they're winning, but then you said morals are important. Which one is it? You can't keep going between both arguments. What is it? Is the only thing that matters how to win?
Because they are winning. I'm saying that the build bridging fucking worked for them. Are you fucking
They didn't build the bridge. He jumped ship.
They did. Every single person who wants to move towards the left, they embrace warmly.
What part of the Republican platform changed to embrace Tulsi Gabbard?
Nothing. They just embraced her. And then
Hold on. They don't need to. You're missing the point.
What
they
are you
don't
talking
need to.
about?
Okay. They don't need to use
What are you
policies.
fucking
We're talking
talking
about
about?
interpersonal interactions.
Wait, when the fuck have I ever said that by building the bridge, Republicans are going to suddenly shift their policies?
That's what building a bridge means. Building a bridge is another way of saying meet in the middle. If somebody jumps ships and goes completely to another party, that's not building a bridge.
What word would you like me to use for saying not meeting in the middle, but instead welcomes them to their side and are willing to talk to them kindly? And when I say kind, I don't mean nice.
Didn't Tulsi vote to impeach Trump, by the way?
Respectfully disagree.
You could just match energy. You could just match energy. And I think
if you came out and started supporting 70% of the Democratic platform, I would accept you, but you don't.
Hold on. We're not talking. Hold on. Stop, please. We're not talking. Look, the thing is, you guys are talking about policies, and we're not talking about policies. We're talking about how we treat each other interpersonally and how we act on an interpersonal level, and that's going to be far more powerful than any policy you might have. Tali did want to say something, so I'm going to give the mic to Tali. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's like getting lost in all of this here, but I'll just pick up on what you just said. Yeah, it is the way you treat people. And again, it's about who you're trying to communicate to when you're communicating in that way. And so you can match people's energy. If someone is obviously a freak, if someone obviously is mocking death on their own side, then sure, you can do what you're doing to that. You're going to turn off some people, right? You do have to question, do you want to become the other side? I mean, everyone I think was rightfully horrified when all of the people on the right were making jokes about that trans kid who jumped off the bridge, right? And now,
wait, just to be clear, you're wrong. You're just totally fucking retarded if you believe that. Who is horrified?
People on the left, people in this conversation.
Like people with conscience.
My bad. Hold on. I rescind that. I thought you said people on the right were horrified because nobody on the right gave a fuck about that.
Well, she said everyone.
Bullshit.
I rescind my retarded. Go ahead.
Bullshit. I'm still here. No,
like-minded people here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Bullshit. There are people who have consciences, who are normal, who are not online all the time, who see somebody mocking someone who committed suicide, and they do care and they do find it repulsive. You thinking that everybody is some dissident right-wing psychotic
alligator Alcatraz in the building right now? Alligator Alcatraz, where the joke is if they swim away, they'll get eaten by alligators.
Do you want me to go? Hold on. Do you want me to go talk to my conservative parents and ask them if they find that shit fucking repulsive?
Yeah, wait. People don't like that stuff either. And this goes back to what Kyla was saying earlier. It's like you would have to prove that people were voting, that the disaffected liberals, that the people who held their nose were somehow voting for Trump because they liked the cruelty. The cruelty is the point for some people, not for the people that Kyla and Connor are talking about reaching and being open to and just treating like reasonable humans. They are different.
But the point is that Connor, are your parents there right now, Connor?
No, they're in South Florida.
Okay. Don't want to.
Stop trying to talk to my mom.
Alligator Alcatraz.
Talk to my mom.
Here's the issue. Because this is what I was going to demonstrate if Connor's parents were here. Because Connor's saying, "Oh, well, you want to ask my parents what they think about it?" And here's what I would do. I would go, "What do you guys think about it?" And I'm sure Connor's parents go, "Oh, I think that's really mean." And he would say, "Look at that, I owned you." And then I go, "Oh, just curious, do you regret your vote for Trump?" And they'd go, "No, I would still vote for him again. I'm going to vote for him for a third term." Fucking bad guy. And then I go, and then the problem is that what you can do is you can be cruel for the people that like the cruelty, but it doesn't turn off the other voters who don't give a fuck about it. So what the fuck?
Not happening in a vacuum.
Stop. I want to talk. This isn't hypothetical. Okay, so what ended up happening was both of my parents, they lived in the Pacific Northwest for a few years, and they got exposed to a bunch of liberals and Democrats or whatever. And as a result, they kind of moderated in a lot of their perspectives. And so my dad got into a bunch of contrarian podcast stuff. And so as a result, he did vote for Trump in the last election. But my mother, who's been a hardcore pro-life fucking Republican forever, got so repulsed with what the Republican Party has become that she did not fucking vote in the presidential ticket, which, by the way, people can accuse her of being a fucking traitor for that because she didn't vote fucking Republican. I don't think that she voted for Kamala, but she didn't fucking vote for Trump. So acting like those people don't exist, you're losing those people when you conduct yourself this way.
Those people don't matter. Didn't Florida vote more for Trump this election than the last one?
Shit, moderates matter. Fuck you.
Oh, my bad. Hold on. I wanted to go with the fucking vote numbers when we could just have your mom as an example. I got to use that legitimately, by the way.
No.
But what's the point? Yeah, maybe your mom got turned off by the rhetoric, but didn't more people...
How much of people are independent or moderates who vote in general elections? How often are elections swung by moderates and independents? By the way,
Don't bring up Al Gore. He doesn't want to think about it. He doesn't want to think about it.
Shut up. Everybody shut up. I'm not done. Everybody keeps saying that the Republicans have been sweeping for a decade, but you omit the fucking fact that Donald Trump fucking lost. You can blame it on COVID. You can blame it on economics. He still fucking lost in 2020. So don't tell me that it's been a 10-year Republican sweep. It hasn't been.
I don't think anyone made that comment specifically.
I'm gonna.
Kyla,
you said it multiple times.
I need to hold. No, stop. I need to hold Steven because he keeps on. He keeps on.
Kyla, go then. Kyla then Soy. Kyla then Soy. Kyla then Soy.
No. Okay, I just want to be super clear. I don't know why you need to do this, Stephen, because if you're right, you can just engage with what I'm actually saying and not a new version of what I'm saying. I'm not waffling Stephen. Back and forth between effectiveness and morality. I've said from the very beginning that it is pluralistic, right? You can have principles having principles is effective because shared principles is part of how you collectivize, and holding yourself to those principles or failing to do so matters to the group.
What are the principles, though?
Yeah, but
Epstein is a good example.
What are the principles, though? Are the principles not being mean to people or not bullying people?
No, that's not the principles that I'm asking for. That's not what I've ever said.
Asking for?
What the?
Stop talking about kids jerking off.
I have said it.
Kids in debt is a good line.
So many times, I don't even understand how you're possibly
then
still
just answer it again. You could have answered it at the time. They're going to say that. It's the principle.
I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to grandstand at you too because you're being fucking bad faith, and I don't understand why you need to do this.
No,
if my argument is so bad,
really
you don't need to mischaracterize it. Shut the fuck up. You don't need to mischaracterize it as being mean is bad. Also, the argument Trump is mean, so being mean effective is fucking stupid, right?
Okay, because Connor, summarize Kyla's point, and let's see if Connor can summarize it. What
I think kindness is effective. The reason I want you to be kind is because I think it's good and I think it works.
So we can be kind, but we can't be mean. But like,
if you build and maintain relationships,
what is the evidence of kindness being an effective political
the evidence is 2018, 2020, 2022.
You don't need to be kind. You need to be.
Love Trump's hate, guys.
You don't need to be, right? But you should be good faith to people who are good faith to you. You don't need to be kind.
Doesn't mean nice.
You don't need to
Sorry,
be kissing
whatever fucking
ass.
word you guys want to use. I didn't say don't be mean. When I'm saying kind, I'm mean to people all the fucking time. I'm also not saying don't be be perfect. I'm also failing my own standard regularly. So just to be clear, I'm not talking from a fucking pulpit. What I am talking about is
kind doesn't have anything to do with being mean. What is kind? What do we say when you say being kind?
Kind. When I say kind, what I mean is like a more broader thing of understanding them as a person, trying to get into their worldview and engaging in good faith, actually engaging with what they're talking to. And at your best, which by the way, you, Stephen, at your best, is when you steel man, shut the fuck up. When you steel man your opposition, you understand what they are saying. And
if you want to build a YouTube channel, you can do that. We're talking politics right now. When did the Republicans ever do this? One example.
What? I'm sorry. What the fuck are we talking about? Do you not think that YouTube channels and YouTube debates have any effect on politics?
What do we think? I'm saying of all of the Republicans, what Republican channel emulates this idea that you're talking about the most?
I've already said that
it is seen it's the center right that, especially leading up to the election, was seen as the open-minded space.
Yes,
an area
Joe
where
Rogan were seen as open-minded. They would have anybody on theoretically.
They would have anybody on when he started hosting conservative after conservative after conspiracy theories. When he would dodge people,
sure got sucked in by audience capture. I wonder why. I wonder why people like being conservative more than left. I wonder why the fuck that is.
True.
That's my whole issue.
Remember when the Flint Dibble guy went on and he was so mean and so aggressive and so horrible, and then Joe Rogan re-brought on the other Stephen Graham or whatever the fuck guy, or Graham Hancock or whatever, who roasted the fuck out of Flint when he literally is dying of cancer. That's the guy we need to appeal to. Holy shit!
Joe Rogan is not as neutral as he pretends to be.
And then his Spotify deal got canceled. He lost all his money. All the Republicans lost their elections.
Kyla, do you think it would be more effective to be edgy and authentic in front of Joe Rogan, or to be like, oh, Joe, you're so nice and we're not going to be mean to you and we want to accept you into our party? Like, what do you think appeals to more? All the comedians that go on and
you don't need to be insincere.
Hold on, you're
if this is genuinely
Kyla, because she's obviously pro being edgy and being real.
But yeah, so she keeps saying that, and then she can't point to a thing, and then saying kindness is really important, except for when it's not.
About Soy Pill? I've pointed to multiple things. I've talked about his nuking of Tectone's relationship. I talked about the way that you talk to Tally. I have given you very specific examples. The reason you guys need to strawman me is because the reality is that I am not incorrect.
We're
if it
asking
was
about
the
Republicans
case
being
that
nice.
the left was so cozy and it was so fun to hang out with, then maybe we would win against
Fun
a
to hang
fucking
out with is
rapist.
authentic
But we
and
didn't.
Republican.
I
We
just have a
didn't, did
housekeeping
we?
question.
It's not because of edgy
We're
jokes.
asking about examples
in
for the
part-
Republicans being nice. When are the Republicans nice? When are they being nice
I'm
to
not
people?
saying that. I'm not saying any of this shit.
Well,
On
is
an
it effective?
interpersonal level, hold on, no, I'll
there.
answer Destiny's question. On an interpersonal level, Republicans have been on balance nicer to me than Democrats have.
Okay, well, you're not a
Same.
Republican.
I'm not talking. I know because I'm not retarded, right? And I believe in
Did you vote
actual
Republican?
principles and things like that. But unfortunately, not everyone is like Wick, and there are a lot of
Asking
people
somebody who's
who are much more
principled
retarded
doesn't
than Wick
change their
is.
principles because
Okay.
somebody
Let
was
him get
mean to
in.
them. Is sorry.
Why are you
I have
talking
to
to
leave,
Natalie by
so
saying
I want to make.
Count-
Can I make a kind of a closing statement
counterpoints.
and
You
then
gotta
dip out?
go. So we're gonna give your spiel and tell people where they can find you. I know this
Okay.
is run long, but it's good content.
It's okay. I gotta go take care of stuff. So, anyways, the line that you guys have asked for repeatedly is probably kids jerking off and dead kids. That's my line. I've repeated it probably 3 or 4 times. And then also, I forgot what the fuck else I was gonna say. Have fun ripping each other apart. I parasocially love you. Have a beautiful night.
Okay, go find him. I have a link to his
Connor.
politics channel in my YouTube description. Go click that link and give him a follow. He spent his time with
Bye.
me. Bye.
Bye, Connor.